to order. Can we start with a roll call?
Barbara Burrowsett.
James Meyer.
Aziz Hassan.
Norma Drummond. All right, can I ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, this is our last meeting of the year. I want to start the meeting by wishing everyone happy holidays, and thank you to the board members here, to our clerk, our attorney, building department, and our secretary who keeps all of our minutes. I think we had a really good year. We got a lot done and kind of streamlined how we did business, so I really think we had a great year. So happy holidays to everyone. Reminder for everybody that winter is upon us. If in the event of snow for our January meeting and you are scheduled to be here for your public hearing, the meeting, if town hall is closed, the meeting is canceled. There is no makeup meeting. What it just means is that the meeting would get postponed to February. So if you have a sign up, that you please have to change that sign, the date on the sign to reflect the new date in February. Our meeting in January is going to be Thursday instead of the usual Tuesday. There's actually going to be a court case in here for the evening that week, so we'll be meeting on Thursday, January 14th. One last thing about signs, when you're done your public hearing, if your public hearing is adjourned, you have to change the date on the sign and it needs to stay up, but when you're done with your public hearing, please take your signs down. There is still one sign, at least one sign up from October that, I pass pretty regularly, so please take them down. And the last thing, there are a couple updates to our agenda. We're not going to be hearing items number 3, 4, 13, or 17. All right, so some significant changes to the agenda. First item on our agenda is we have approval of the minutes from November 10th. There were a couple amendments, suggested amendments to those minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of November 10th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Lisa, Terry's going to abstain. All right, so the first part of our agenda is a couple decisions. These are items where the board has already reviewed the applications, where we've actually already conducted the public hearing, and we've just reserved our decision to give us an opportunity to just kind of think through what we want to do and where to go with this. So we do have two decisions. After that, we have some public hearings. This is where any neighbors have an opportunity to come and comment on the applications that the board has already done an initial review of. And then lastly, we have reviews where there will be no public comment this evening, but after the board has done an initial review, we will set those up for public hearing to be able to give your neighbors an opportunity to comment on what you're asking for. So with that being said, I'm going to start with item number 1, which is Appeal 3740 Picard. Michael Todd, representing Joseph Picard, 53 Autumn Chase Drive, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 5-foot sideline variance for an existing pool, a 15-foot sideline variance for existing pool equipment, and a 5-foot sideline variance for an existing 12-foot by 16-foot shed. A certificate of compliance has been issued for the shed pursuant to sections 194-95 and 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Would somebody like to offer the resolution?
I'll go for it, Jim.
I guess I've been nominated.
Thank you.
Therefore, in reference to appeal number 3740, but as indicated by the applicant, Michael Todd, representing Joseph Picard, seeking a 5-foot sideline variance for an existing pool, a 15-foot sideline variance for existing pool equipment, and a 5-foot sideline variance for an existing 12 by 16 shed. A certificate of compliance having been issued for the shed pursuant to sections 194-95 and 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. The location is 53 Autumn Chase Drive, Hopewell Junction, in an R1 zoning district, where the resolution being offered by zoning board member James Meyer. Whereas the applicant has applied for a 5-foot sideline variance for an existing pool, a 15-foot sideline variance for existing pool equipment, and a 5-foot sideline variance for an existing 12 by 16 shed, Whereas this action is a Type 2 action under SEQA and no further action is required. And whereas the legal notice was published in the Southern Dutchess News on April 29th and July 29th, 2015. And whereas this zoning board of appeals held public hearings on July 14th, August 11th, September 9th, October 13th, and November 10th, all of 2015. And in this appeal, Michael Todd is representing Joseph Picard, 53 Autumn Chase Drive, Hopewell Junction, and is requesting a 5-foot sideline variance for an existing in-ground pool measuring 20 feet by 40 feet, a 15-foot sideline variance for existing pool equipment, and a 5-foot sideline variance for existing 12 by 16 shed, having a certificate of compliance being issued for it pursuant to sections 194-95 and 194-107 of the Town of East Fishkill zoning ordinance. Section 194-95 is entitled, quote, "Private Swimming Pools and Tennis Courts," close quote. And subsection C provides, C, setback requirements. All swimming pools and/or tennis courts shall be set back from lot lines at least 25 feet from side and rear lot lines. Such pool and/or tennis court shall not be located in any required front yard. This appeal was subject of a review held on June 9th, 2015, and 5 public hearings on July 14th, 2015, August 11th, 2015, September 9th, 2015, October 13th, 2015, and November 10th, 2015. When this board closed the public hearing and reserved decision. At the public hearing on September 9, 2015, the board learned the history of the pool and pool equipment from Mr. Todd as reflected in the minutes of the public hearing. 1. Mr. Todd was present. Chairwoman Drummond explained that this was reviewed 2 months ago. At that time, there was no survey, and the board was a little concerned about how close the pool equipment was as represented in the application. There was a little concern about the actual location of the pool as well. The survey came in and it was determined that the pool was closer and did not meet the setback requirements. Upon further review, the building permit was pulled and the location of the pool was not anywhere near where it was supposed to be according to the building permit. Chairwoman Drummond asked Mr. Todd to explain the circumstance which led to the relocation of the pool. Mr. Todd said that basically what happened was the pool was not going to be within the setback of the property, so they moved it. If the pool is moved by 5 feet because rock was hit, it would be moved 10 feet. Mr. Todd said that he had the wrong property line, so measuring off of what was thought was the property line, and now there is a survey, Mr. Todd found that it was put in the wrong place. Chairwoman Drummond stated that it was moved 54 feet, and it now puts it not in compliance with the setback. Chairwoman Drummond says that the board needs a better explanation as to why it had to go that far. 3. Mr. Todd also said, things have changed over the years, whereas at-built surveys would be followed accurately, he did not do that. There are a set of trees that the homeowner swears were his, and they are not his. He planted the trees with the understanding that it was on his property, and Mr. Todd measured from that line. It was how he always did it, but that is not how they are going to continue to do it. Chairwoman Drummond did not know if Mr. Todd could answer the question, but the shed is also not in compliance. Mr. Todd did not know how he got linked into the shed. Chairwoman Drummond said that when the survey came in, the shed showed that it wasn't in compliance. She asked if Mr. Todd knew how old the shed was. Mr. Todd believed that there was a survey that he initially used to put the pool in place. Ms. Mintz stated that it was her fault. When they applied for the building permit for the addition, the shed had never been closed out. The homeowner's husband was in China or something, and she asked if Ms. Mintz would measure with her where the property line was, and Ms. Mintz did the measuring with the aerial, and they thought it matched. Not until the new survey was received was it realized that it was wrong. A certificate of compliance was issued on the shed. Chairwoman Drummond said that the building department assisted with the location of the shed. Ms. Mintz said that the shed is already in place, but it wasn't closed out. 4. Mr. Todd said that in answer to the question of how difficult it would be to move the pool equipment, it wouldn't be as difficult to move as the pool. Chairwoman Drummond pointed out that the pool is now 20.4 feet, which means it needs a 5-foot variance. Mr. Todd said that he would have to remove everything around the pool. Chairwoman Drummond asked if the owners explored a lot line realignment with their neighbor. Mr. Todd did not think so. Chairwoman Drummond thought that it could be a possibility. Mr. Todd did not know the answer. The reason why he is here is because he installed the pool. He could walk away, but he wants to make it right. Mr. Meyer felt that a lot realignment was a possibility. Finally, at the public hearing on November 10, 2015, the board took in the following information and testimony. 1. Chairwoman Drummond summarized the appeal and stated that Mr. Todd submitted a building permit application to install a pool on this property. Due to the number of circumstances with other buildings going on at the site, the pool location was moved. Mr. Todd came in for a variance, and the board suggested trying to get a lot line realignment. Chairwoman Drummond asked Mr. Todd to give the board an update. Mr. Todd stated that they looked into the lot line realignment, and with the expense and the neighbor not wanting to move the lot line, this does not seem to be a viable option for the applicant. Mr. Todd stated that the fence has been moved and is no longer on the property line. It is at least 2 to 5 feet from the property line. He walked the property with the neighbor, so the neighbor is aware of that. 3. Chairwoman Drummond pointed out to Mr. Todd that he was bringing up the subject of septic fields, but the survey does not show where the septic fields are. Mr. Todd said that he didn't know how to get the septic fields drawn into a survey. He has no paperwork to show where the septic fields actually are located. 4. Chairwoman Drummond read a neighbor's letter into the record that was received by the board dated November 10, 2015. The letter was written by the homeowner at 57 Autumn Chase Drive. It stated that they were concerned about the variances requested. It also stated they were never approached by the Picards regarding the issues. He did state that there were several phone conversations and meetings with Mr. Todd. Chairwoman Drummond read a letter in its entirety, and it was placed in the file as part of the record. Chairwoman Drummond was concerned that the Picards did not reach out to the neighbors. 5. Mr. Meyer thought the leach fields were behind the pool and not in the way or in between the middle of the property and the pool. Mr. Todd asked what he meant by behind the pool. Mr. Meyer said he was looking at a picture. Mr. Todd said that the leach fields and the pool are in a parallel line about 50 feet in the back of the house. The only way to avoid the leach fields is to turn it and put it way in the back of the property, which gets wetter and wetter as it goes back. Mr. Meyer thought the pool could have been 10 feet closer to the house. Chairwoman Drummond, 6. Chairwoman Drummond also stated that the problem is the building permit that was applied for shows the pool in one place, but it was moved from where the pool was originally shown to go, having been moved 54 feet. The distance moved is more than the length of the pool itself. There seems to be no question that the applicant and the immediate neighbor never benefited by obtaining and exchanging surveys to physically lay out the property line or by learning where their property lines were located. If either route had been explored by either or both parties, there might not have been the confusion or misunderstanding that the parties later experienced. In reviewing any area application, variance application, the ZBA is required to review the balancing test and the 5 factors as recited in New York State Town Law Section 267-B, paren 3, close paren, paren B, close paren. Making its determination, the Zoning Board of Appeals shall take into consideration the benefit to the applicant if the variance is granted, as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant. In making such determination, the board shall also consider 1. Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. 2. Whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. 3. Whether the requested area variance is substantial. 4. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. And 5. whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the Board of Appeals, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of an area variance. In looking at the 5 factors, this board concludes as follows. 1. An undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood, as it would give a sideline variance contrary to what the town has intended for pools and pool equipment. One of the negative consequences of pools is that their use generates noise by both users enjoying the recreation and the motorized pool equipment needing to run for several hours each day. 2. The benefits sought by the applicant, 3 variances for pool, pool equipment, and shed, can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. For example, by the relocation and/or reduction of the pool size, relocation of the pool equipment and shed, etc. The point is the applicant has options available to the applicant other than pursuing the requested 3 variances. 3. The requested 3 variances are substantial. The variance percentages are substantial when viewed from the perspective that the town rarely grants a variance for the 25-foot setback required in section 194-95. 4. The board believes that the proposed 3 variants will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or zoning district. In short, the applicant's shed, pool, and pool equipment are, quote, on top of, close quote, the neighborhood property at the present time. 5. The alleged difficulty is clearly self-created. The difficulty arises from the applicant's construction of the pool violating the required setback, 25 feet. The applicant was clearly aware of the setback requirement when he submitted his application for a building permit. With the significant change of location, the resulting pool location was obviously not consistent with the placement on the building permit plan. It should be noted that the ZBA is concerned about other issues that would result if the board were to grant the 3 variances. A. The detrimental precedent that such granting would result in and have effect on hundreds of pools in the town of East Fishkill, in place now or to be placed in the future. Town residents would observe that pursuing the variance, quote, after the fact, close quote, would help them to achieve their required result, easier than applying for the variance before anything is constructed. B. The disregard that such granting would have upon the town board's legislation and legislative intent regarding the 25-foot setback required by section 194-95. It should be noted that the previous zoning regulations only required a 10-foot setback, but that setback was expanded in 2001 to recognize the importance of additional distance between neighbors, especially those with in-ground pools. C. The necessary proof under New York State town law for a variance for the shed was not presented by the applicant to the board. Therefore, no area variance should be granted for the shed. Therefore, for all the reasons recited herein, the board hereby denies the 3 variances sought by the applicant. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Is there a second?
Second.
Votes as follows. Jim?
Aye.
Aziz?
Aye.
Tara? Barbara?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Yes, that's Pam, that's just one typo. All right, item number 2 is a decision, Appeal 3755 Navarro. Michael Navarro, 64 Nathan Hale Drive, Stormville, is requesting a 25-foot rear line variance for a proposed 24-foot by 30-foot detached garage pursuant to section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Somebody want to offer that resolution?
This is appeal number 3755 for the applicant Michael Navarro for a 25-foot rear line variance for a proposed 24-foot by 30-foot detached garage pursuant to section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance, located at 64 Nathan Hale Drive, Stormville. Resolution offered by zoning board member Barbara Barosa. Whereas the applicant has applied for a 25-foot rear line variance for a proposed 24-foot by 30-foot detached garage, and whereas this action is a Type 2 action under seeker and no further action is required, and whereas the legal notice was published in the Southern Dutchess News on September 30th, 2015, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals held a public hearing on October 13th and November 10th, 2015, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the granting of the variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to the community, the desired result cannot be achieved by some other means without impacting their closest neighbor more significantly. The variance requested is not substantial. The proposed area variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions, as there's no significant vegetation in between the homes now, and the applicant has agreed to plant arborvitaes and other landscaping to further screen the garage. Now therefore be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby approves the request by Michael Navarro, 64 Nathan Hale Drive, Stormville, for a 25-foot rear line variance for a proposed 24-foot by 30-foot detached garage pursuant to Section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Is there a second?
Second.
Votes as follows, Jim?
Aye.
Aziz?
Aye.
Tara? Barbara?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Your motion carries, okay? Just remember, though, you can't pull your permit for this garage until your accessory apartment is finished.
Okay.
Because you need that square footage to have this count. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, so items number 3 and 4 both were pulled by applicants, so we are now in the public hearings. Item number 5, Appeal 3766 Peterson, Bruce Peterson Jr., 123 Grace Road, Wappingers Falls, is requesting a 4-foot front line variance for a pre-existing non-conforming house which was built in 1960, a 12-foot sideline variance for existing 14-foot by 24-foot and 8-foot by 8-foot sheds, and a 10-foot sideline variance for an existing 16-foot by 16-foot wooden patio pursuant to Sections 194-121, 194-107, and 194-93 of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the applicants are here, okay, good. So summarizing what we reviewed, you have an application in before us. These sheds have been there for a while. This patio has been there for a very long time. It actually used to surround, I think you said there was a hot tub or something
Oh, at
here?
one time, yeah.
Yeah, so again, the wooden patio has been there for a very long time. Are you the one, did you have a fence that runs along your property?
Yeah, and the
Like
piece has
your-
been removed.
And you've taken down that one
That
panel?
one yep, the one piece of
Okay, good.
fence.
So we took care of that issue, recognizing one stretch of or one panel
One 8-foot piece.
was
yeah.
6 feet in front of the rear line of the house, so you've
Right.
addressed that issue. Okay. And so again, because it's a pre-existing house, you didn't build the house, it was there, obviously, it didn't meet zoning when you bought it, so that's not anything that we're going to hold against you. We talked about moving the sheds, or the conditions of the shed, 14-foot by 24 feet is going to require a crane, so, something of that size is not easily moved. And the 8-foot by 8-foot shed,
That was there before we bought the house.
right, exactly, that was a pre-existing condition there, so it wasn't something that you were accountable for. Is there anything else you'd like to offer? Any questions or comments from board members?
I'm good.
No, thank you.
Is there anyone here who wishes to speak for or against the application of Bruce Peterson Jr., 123 Grace Road, Wappingers Falls, requesting a 4-foot front line variance for a pre-existing non-conforming house, a 12-foot variance for existing 14-foot by 24-foot and 8-foot by 8-foot sheds, and a 10-foot sideline variance for an existing 16-foot by 16-foot wooden patio? Sure. Come on up. Just ask you guys to sit down.
My name is Dan. My backyard butts up against their far end of their property
Okay.
where over the last 2 years, a shed went up, and then I just recently seen another canvas-type shed up there. The problem my wife and I have is I have pictures, if you want to see, of it's pretty messy.
Okay.
This is what we see out our kitchen window, off our deck. And it's just stuff
You can bring it.
that is...
Like to see the pictures.
This was taken with a cell phone camera.
You have to go back so we can try to talk so it gets picked up.
My question, we don't have problem really with the sheds, but can this stuff be covered maybe with a fence?
All right, it looks like they've got some rock in the back there.
Well, there's a lot of like, it looks like a construction site back there. There's tubings and all kinds of things.
Yeah, you're right, leaning against the tree is also...
We don't want to see it.
Building
I don't care what he does, but if it's covered and we don't see it, and
This canvas structure is new.
Well, yeah, the
They're
canvas
allowed because it's going to be there only for 6 months.
for 6 months, right?
6 months, okay.
We had that conversation with them last time around. All right, so...
it's just the stuff that's just being thrown there. It's just recently we've seen more and more stuff. Like I said, we don't really have a problem, but we don't want to see this stuff. And maybe if he put a fence up to cover it,
Okay.
but if he puts a fence,
Just your jacket's hitting the
if he
microphone.
puts a fence, maybe
Please stand in front of it, just
it
that
has
way,
to
that way
go,
you're touching.
he put a fence up, but he puts the end out that's supposed to be faced in, and he's hanging stuff off. There's a house one over, and it looks absolutely disgusting. And I got a picture of that.
All right, but that's not part of this application, so...
Well, all I'm asking
If
is
they ask for,
if you could put a fence up, just put it the right way,
the nice side is supposed to be facing out.
facing out. We don't want to see anything. And basically, we don't care what he does back there. We don't want to see any of it.
Okay.
And was there something mentioned of a generator in this letter we got? No, there's no generator or anything,
No.
right? Okay. It's just the sheds where we don't have a problem with. We just don't want to see this stuff.
And a wooden patio that's very low to the ground.
I don't,
You
that's,
wouldn't- I-
it's the stuff towards the back where our property is. Because right out our kitchen window, bang, it's right in our face. And as I said, that's taken with a cell phone right out the window.
Right.
And you can see it that well. That's all.
The canvas structure, I think, is...
Well, if that's going, but if the fence
6
goes...
months, yeah.
If a fence goes up and it's blocking all of that, like I said, we don't have a problem with what they're doing back there.
So you're looking for a 4-foot fence or a 6-foot?
4 foot, it's got to be 6 foot. It's got to cover most of, like he has a stockade fence up there. Let's put a section back there where we don't have to see it. Just,
Okay.
or move it away.
Or bushes, I mean... is that-
Bushes, anything, as long as we don't have to see
I mean,
it.
it appears that there's, most of what you're commenting on
Yeah.
is very low to the ground. It's
Yeah,
whatever's
yeah.
under the back of
Yeah,
the existing
but you see it,
structure that's there.
you can see it perfectly.
I understand.
Yeah.
Your
I don't care
pictures are very
what it gets
clear.
covered with. We don't care what it gets covered with, am I
Okay.
right?
We would just like to stay we would like our backyard to be able to look at and have it nice back there.
Yeah.
And I want to see someone else's junk because they don't want to see it in their eyesight. And I want it to be put so that we have to look at it.
Yeah, because when we're out in our yard and the people are over,
And part of the problem is it slopes up a little bit, so that's right at your eye level.
Right.
yeah.
It is a
It's
slope.
all right if we,
Yeah, it's right at our eye level,
we're going
right?
to keep these for our file?
Yeah, you can keep them, yeah. And that's it, right?
Okay.
You sure?
Could
Okay.
we ask you to just sign in over there, just so we get your name right in the minutes? Is there anyone else? Would you like to speak to that? Do you want to see the pictures that he's talking about?
I know what it looks like.
Okay.
so, yeah.
It is, I mean,
You
from
got to come
his...
back up.
It's just the difference between height properties, between the property lines. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're a little higher, they're a little lower.
There is a lot of stuff back there,
Yeah,
though.
it's
A
all...
lot of materials leaning
it's
against the
just-
trees, and the
Okay.
pile of black tubing, and there's a lot of stuff back there.
Drainage pipe, yeah.
Again, that's why we hold the public hearings.
That's what
They're
I
expressing
understand.
the...
I understand.
They're expressing, they're not worried about necessarily the structures that you have there, just is a fence or bushes or something within...
We can take care of it.
I'll put a fence,
Okay.
I'd rather put the fence anyway.
Okay.
Actually, all that stuff is not even allowed to be out there. Well, I didn't see the pictures, but
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm assuming it's not permanent, it's, you're using this stuff for something,
it's-
especially if they say more and more
Yeah,
stuff
we just
gets
noticed
added
it.
to it.
No, I understand. It's just stuff that it's stored under the shed,
Over
that's,
the
you know.
days, we're seeing more and more stuff.
Well, I'm
Now,
putting it for
now
the
all the
winter.
trees are down too, and everybody, you know, all the
Right.
brush is down, so.
Whatever it is, it's just
We'll put up a fence, it's no big
Okay.
deal,
That's fine.
as long as I don't get yelled at for putting a fence up.
8 foot I can do,
If
right?
it's over 4 feet, you need a permit.
What was
Over
that?
what?
If it's over 4 feet, you need a permit. But again, if we just said that, we just understood that you're at a higher
We're a
height.
lot higher than them.
Yeah, so if, they might be able to get away with just 4 feet.
Whatever, if you put those.
As long as you just don't see under the
bushes with the yellow flowers, that does a lot of good cover.
The
Oh, yeah,
forsythias,
okay.
yeah.
To cover the back.
Okay.
so.
Okay,
Can
well, I
put-
can't do no
I can't
plants
put
now,
6
but
foot?
What?
Can I do 6
Yes.
foot
You
fence?
can do 6 feet, but
then we have to get a permit.
then you gotta get a
And
permit.
you have to keep it 2 feet in from the property line.
Right.
And that's the property line with him then again.
Well,
I
that
understand.
allows you to go to the other side of the fence and maintain it without going
Right.
on your neighbor's property. So if it's in 2 feet, if it's something that you need to examine and fix, you can do that without.
Without having.
Okay, we'll take care of it. I will put
4
something
foot,
up.
you can basically reach over and take care of it. 6 feet, you can't do that.
Okay.
So you'll need a permit. So you can decide which option you want to go. I mean,
What, the bush or the fence? I mean,
well, you can do bushes if they're saying. I mean, you,
Since in the wintertime, there's not going to be anything there.
Well, if they're evergreens, if they're, you
yeah,
know,
you want to plant
they'll
some.
stay green all year
evergreen
round.
stuff.
As long as it's covered.
The idea is they're looking for screening.
That's
Right.
perfectly
So
fine, I
whatever
understand.
you do,
No problem.
it's wooded, I don't know if they're
Yeah, I
gonna
think-
grow
well,
though.
it's, again, if you want to see their pictures,
Because
it's,
the trees, bushes won't grow.
there's vegetation there, but it's very visible to them.
Okay, that's
Probably
no
the
problem.
best thing is some sort of fence.
I think fence, whether it's 4 feet or 6 feet, I think the fence is the way I'm leaning towards.
Right. So you want a 6 foot, then I need to do something else, right? Permit?
Well,
Well,
the
you-
town
you-
requires a building permit for a 6-foot fence.
Right.
It's not really going to cost you that
How
much
many
money.
sections? I mean,
Yeah, are we allowed to put up there? I mean, like,
I don't know
'cause it
what
would
you
be
want.
It would be two,
3 8-foot sections?
Well, enough to go from
It's
one
got
side
it,
of one
right.
shed to the other.
You've
so
got
anything
stuff
you put
leaning
in-
on against the one tree on the one side of the shed, or the, whatever the structure is that's in the back there, and then you've got that black tubing that's all the way on the other side. It's- Again, if you really
Okay.
need that, or whether that could really belongs on your property or
Okay.
not. So, there's,
it will definitely be hidden.
so
Okay.
if the garage is that the 24-foot side, the shed back there, is that what we're talking about, that structure?
Well, that would be the, not the 24, it'd be the other
That's the
width.
16-foot
16,
side?
yeah.
So you're going to need at least
least two
a panel
pieces.
on each side.
Okay.
Yeah, at least 2 pieces to cover the 16 feet. And
Okay.
then whether you line it up and get an extra 4 feet on each side, that one tree might be further than 4 feet.
Okay,
All right, so you probably need at least 4 panels.
so where do we file the permit here now?
Well, no,
or-
that's
Oh.
not us. That's-
Oh, okay.
You'll go to the building department after we, I don't know if there's any other neighbors here, so we're
Okay.
just let us finish with public comment, and then we'll, finish up your application.
All right.
Okay? Are there any other neighbors who wish to comment on this application? You're,
That's it, because we're the only ones that can see it.
okay. No, we appreciate your coming out this evening. All right, so seeing no other neighbors, do I have a motion to close?
Okay, so
the
basically the
public-
understanding is at least a 4 foot, for the resolution, we're going to say at least 4 foot with an option of going to 6 feet.
Right.
A
If you wanna
4
go-
Well,
foot's
at
not
least
gonna
4
do
foot.
much, because I think we're too high. I think a 6 foot be better.
Okay, well,
Okay.
Doesn't matter. Again,
Right.
because you are
Right.
higher, their visual might be taken care of with the 4
Right.
feet. That's what we're saying.
Okay, whatever.
No, because
But
we have
it's
to-
your choice. All right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, she has something else to say.
Can you come
Sorry,
to the-
we have to,
Go ahead.
we have to have you come to the microphone, sorry.
Hi, I understand all this that's going on, and they're going to put a fence up and whatnot. But is there any kind of variance as to, like, when you put a fence up, that you keep your stuff on that side of the fence? Or can stuff still be hanging of theirs over, so that we're seeing it on our side?
now, can you make a fence and then put it on the
Okay,
neighbor's side?
no, if they put the fence up and the good side is towards us.
Right.
Can they still hang their ladders and stuff so that we're still looking at them, on our side of the fence?
It depends whether the fence is on the property line or if it's on their property.
Okay. They know that the shed that's existing there right now is actually like on their property, and there's like enough room to put a fence up there as it is?
Yeah, but we're
Yes.
giving them variances that they are still away from the property
They
line.
still are away from the property line for a fence? Okay. Thank you.
The fence has to be 2 feet in from the property line.
For
If it's
maintenance.
over 4 feet in height. So there will still be 2 feet
For maintenance.
to the property line.
Because that shed
they-
that went up there went up there very quick, like, we didn't even know it was really going up until, like, one weekend it was just there. So I didn't even know, like, where the lines were at that point.
You're in their rear yard, they don't need a rear yard variance. They're just seeking a side yard variance.
That
So
means they're
it's
50
got to
feet
be in
away.
at least 50 feet.
Their side yard is their rear yard.
Correct.
Oh, their side yard is their rear.
Their house is up
Okay,
here.
all right.
Their whole
Sorry,
property
I
runs down this way.
make that connection.
Yeah.
So they need a 12-foot variance, so they're 13 feet in from the property line. All right, so,
Thank you.
no problem. But because you've now spoken, can we ask you to sign in too? Unless your husband signed you in before. He did already. You're covered.
And do we know?
Thank you.
Just to make the records clear, so we do the decision, this is the applicant's sideline? Do you know whether that's north, south, east, west sideline? Do you know what direction it is?
They're only 4 feet to the property line.
It's the rear of
This
the
is
property.
Hillside Lake.
It's the rear of your
Oh,
property?
okay, all right, okay. They're
We're
4
on
feet
east
from,
vacation,
Yeah,
this is,
so I guess his side there would be facing east vacation. That's what he just
well,
asked.
he just said it was their rear line that was along yours.
That's the back part of his backyard,
Do you have the
his farm.
survey?
Yeah, if you have the map,
My property goes way
There,
up past
my
my
house.
shed.
And he covers 3 yards.
yeah.
so north
But
is
it's
going
your
this way.
sideline then, it's your,
It's our side.
it's
like
your
the same
sideline of your
My
property.
side, his rear.
Right.
What's your last name?
Our last one?
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
That's not on here.
yeah, it's not on here. Holland, Higgs,
It would be the very far corner.
It's right this one.
Stanley?
Stanlix, or Coley, Reason.
Ercole? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's this one.
Okay, all
See,
right.
this is the shed.
I'm just worried about how we're gonna say this for the decision.
North's going the other way, so this
So
is
it's
on
a
the south
sideline.
This
side.
is the north, yeah, this is north shed.
So what line is that? South property
It's
line?
gotta be south.
You can reference the drawing.
North, south, yeah, south.
South, east.
Okay. I'm running out of space here.
All right, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All in favor?
Gonna go for it?
I'll try, boy. It's got complicated. Appeal number 3766 by the applicant Bruce Peterson Jr. Name of project, 4-foot front line variance for a pre-existing non-conforming house which was built in 1960. A 12-foot sideline variance for an existing 14-foot by 24-foot and 8-foot by 8-foot sheds. And a 10-foot sideline variance for an existing 16-foot by 16-foot wooden patio pursuant to sections 194-121, 194-107. I'm sorry, the talking's distracting me while I'm trying to read. And 194-107 of the zoning ordinance, located at,
Should be 194, 93.
Right.
194, okay. See what happens, I'm distracted. Of the zoning ordinance located at 123 Grace Road, Wappingers Falls. Resolution offered by zoning board member James Meyer. And whereas the applicant has applied for a 4-foot line variance for the pre-existing non-conforming house which was built in 1960, a 12-foot sideline variance for an existing 14-foot by 24-foot and 8-foot by 8-foot sheds, and a 10-foot sideline variance for an existing 16-foot by 16-foot wooden patio. And whereas this action is type 2 action under SEQA and no further action is required, and whereas the legal notice was published in the Southern Dutchess News on December 2nd, 2015, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals held a public hearing on December 8th, 2015, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the granting of the variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to the community, as the house has been there since 1960 and was built prior to zoning, and the sheds have been there for many years, and subject to the installation of a 4-foot to 6-foot tall fence to block the view of the neighbor along the applicant's side property on the south. so as to block the view of the sheds on that neighbor's line. And said sheds being in place when the applicant bought the house and the other was installed by the applicant 20 years ago. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means. The requested variance is not substantial, and the proposed area variance will have no adverse effect or impact on the physical and environmental conditions as the structures are already existing. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby approves the request by Bruce Peterson Jr., 123 Grace Road, Wapenters Falls, for a 4-foot front line variance for a pre-existing non-conforming house which was built in 1960, a 12-foot sideline variance for an existing 14 by 24 foot and 8-foot by 8-foot sheds, and a 10-foot sideline variance for an existing 16-foot by 16-foot wooden patio. The variance for existing sheds subject to the aforesaid condition pursuant to sections 194-121, 194-107, and 194-93 of the zoning ordinance. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a member of the resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Is there a second?
Second.
Votes as follows: Jim?
Aye.
Aziz?
Aye.
Tara? Aye. Barbara?
Aye.
And aye for myself, so your motion carries, subject to the screening. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I'm going to pass Jim's version of the resolution down to Pam. Oh, good, thank you. All right, item number 6, Appeal 3767 Scott, Craig Scott, 22 Allen Way, Stormville, is requesting a 4-foot rear line variance for an existing 10-foot by 12-foot deck for which a certificate of compliance was issued in 2005, a 17-foot rear line variance for an existing 16-foot by 24-foot covered timber pile, which has been there since 1996, pursuant to sections 194-17 and 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. He is also requesting an interpretation of section 194-52.1, parking of recreational vehicles in a residential zone. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, good evening. Just to summarize your request, because your neighbors could be here, so you explained to us that as the outcome after a storm back in 1996, where some large oak trees had been knocked down, that, you planed the wood down and made some up to 24-foot lengths of...
That's correct.
...of oak that
Yes.
you had planned to use potentially to build a pole barn or some other structure...
Correct.
...you had hoped to do on your property.
Yes.
And this timber has been... and you're even some neighbors' trees as well, that you said you essentially had
Yeah.
milled down from that storm.
Right.
And the pile's been there since 2006. It is on a raised structure. It's on a raised platform that looked to be very well built. It is covered with a canvas tent that you say you change every couple of years.
Yes.
To protect it from the elements. But that you just haven't had the opportunity to build this barn or
Right.
whatever structure you're going to. And so your interest is to continue to keep that timber pile there.
Yes.
Plus, we talked about the fact that you have several vehicles on your property that there's a box truck that has commercial plates, but you've said that you've converted that into a camper
No.
of sorts?
We haven't converted.
No,
Oh.
it has commercial plates on it because when I went to motor vehicles, they wouldn't allow me to
it had
register
no
it
windows,
as
you
a
said.
camper
Right.
because it didn't have any windows on the side walls of the van.
Right,
So I had no choice except to accept the commercial plates.
okay.
But it has no lettering on it, and is not used in a commercial business for any aspect. It's an old bread truck that's probably familiar to most anybody that lives in New York, Entenmann's. And the lettering's it's faded off it, but there's nothing, it's not a commercial use vehicle. And the only reason it is had commercial plates is because the motor vehicle says you can't convert it to a camper. It has to already like be an existing camper with,
To get those plates.
to get those plates.
Okay.
So I just
All right,
accepted
well,
that.
so we, all right, and then the last thing that you're asking for is an interpretation of a recreational vehicle, and that's because you have essentially a tractor trailer, you have the tractor part, the tractor truck part of it, and then the
Yes.
trailer part of it.
Yes.
Camouflaged, military style, but it has historical plates, both of them do.
Yes.
Also on your property that you tinker with, for lack of a better word, based on what you told us last time around.
Yes.
That's, in essence, it's your recreation, it's your hobby to work on these vehicles.
Yes,
I
it
don't
is.
believe you said you take them out and drive them around, or at least not very
No.
often.
No, I occasionally would start it up and drive it up and down the driveway just to circulate some of the fluids in the transmission and the axles. I have taken it out to our road is a cul-de-sac. So on a couple occasions, when I had to move things around in my driveway, I've driven it up to the circle and turned around and came back, but
Yeah.
that's it.
All right, but again, in the instance of understanding that this is your recreation, your hobby.
Yes.
That's, I believe, why the building department recommended that you get this interpretation about whether this could qualify as a recreational vehicle, because homeowners in East Fishkill are allowed one recreational vehicle in their rear yard. I think we heard that sometimes it's stored in the back, tucked in the trees, and other times it's in your driveway because you're doing some work on it. So it's again, recreational vehicles are supposed to be stored in the rear of the property behind the house. So you are asking for an interpretation, so whether we could interpret that this vehicle to be recreational because of your hobby purposes.
Yes.
In fact, but it is your intent, as I recall, that if you get it fixed up enough, that you would use it to take to historic vehicle shows and that kind of stuff.
That's correct.
And maybe
Yes.
use it in parades or something.
Parades.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that was on there as well.
Sure, absolutely. Again, that follows through with his interest of this being his hobby and recreation. Is there anything else you would like to mention? Any questions or comments from board members?
Not at this time.
No? Is there anyone here who would like to speak for or against the application from Craig Scott, 22 Allen Way, Stormville, requesting a 4-foot rear line variance for an existing 10-foot by 12-foot deck for which a certificate of compliance was issued in 2005, a 17-foot rear line variance for an existing 16-foot by 24-foot covered timber pile, and/or their request for an interpretation of parking or recreational vehicles in a residential zone. Sure. If we don't mind, could I ask you to have a seat? Sure. Good evening.
My name is Michael Albone, I'm the neighbor. What is the interpretation of this recreational vehicle? It's a commercial truck. What kind of license do you need to drive this truck?
Okay.
You need a
The
Class A.
recreational vehicle, well, we believe the vehicle that we're being asked to provide the interpretation on is the camouflage
Tractor trailer.
trailer. Exactly.
So this is a commercial vehicle. This is not a recreational vehicle. You need a Class A CDL license with a valid medical card to drive that truck. This doesn't belong on a residential property. Am I wrong?
Yes, you are.
I'm not talking.
I'm sorry, please. Yeah, this is an opportunity for public comment. We're going to ask you to refrain. We'll give you an opportunity to speak again, but he's addressing the board. I'm not sure that we disagree with you, but we have to hear, and we've been requested to provide an interpretation, so
Okay, I didn't
we
wanna,
we are
you know,
welcoming any comments.
I didn't want to be here. I asked him if he could put it on the other side where I didn't have to see it, smell it, hear it. That wasn't good enough. Your house mustn't be airtight, is what his answer was, if I smell it.
All right, how about the timber pile? Do you have a comment on that?
I have no problem with it.
Okay,
That's not why I'm here. I was here about the trucks.
okay.
I mean, we talk about the trailer or the
The box truck.
the box truck.
The trailer. It's a diesel truck, and he's out there tinkering with it a lot, running it. My bedroom window is, on the side of where his driveway is. And it fills the house with fumes. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Hold on. Does anybody else wish to offer any comment? I'm sorry, can we ask you to sign in? Thank you. Yes, would you like to respond or address the board?
On the comments that he's running the truck all the time, that's not the way it is. No, because
At the time he complained to me, the one time he complained to me in 6 years, I told him, I'm sorry if you get any diesel fumes in your house, but I have to start my truck like once a month just to keep the batteries charged up. The batteries just for the truck alone uses 4 batteries, and that's over $600. And so it's got to be started at least once a month for a minimum, probably 15 minutes.
he does, when he's working on it, I mean, he's redoing stuff. It's not like working on a car where then you turn it on, you turn it off, you turn it on, you turn it off. He works on it and doesn't turn it on for weeks at a time. He always tries to make sure that nobody's home. Our house is about, where the truck is located now, is about, 60 or 70 feet from his bedroom window.
Yeah, at least 60 probably.
And he has never complained about it, and the time when he did, my husband had gone over to him and told him we were moving things around and that he had to park the truck closer to their house for the time it took him to get the bulldozer fixed and pulled out. And he said it'll probably take a month. And at that time, Mike complained about the fumes. My husband did exactly what he said he was going to do. He repaired the bulldozer as much as he could, dragged it out, we had it taken away, and he moved all the vehicles around where they're supposed to be, as far as,
So you keep this in your, again, is it more regularly parked in your driveway, or is it more regularly parked in your rear yard?
It's more regularly parked in the driveway.
In the driveway.
Okay.
Because that's where all the tools are.
That's where the garages are.
I mean, he has wrenches.
Sits in front of the garage.
Yeah, wrenches like that big.
How often is the truck actually put together versus in the separate pieces?
What do you mean?
No.
Oh, you mean
The
combined
trailer
as a
versus-
unit?
Since
Yeah.
we bought it, it has, and since we
No, I
separated.
have never coupled it on the public roads.
Well, on our property, only when he brought it in.
No, wait a minute.
Okay, sorry.
That trailer was delivered by a freight company or whatever you want to call them.
Okay.
I didn't drive it from wherever it was on the streets of New York or any place. It was driven to my home, it was offloaded and put in my backyard.
Okay.
And as far as combining the two, I would combine the two if I were going to take it to a parade or a meeting, a military vehicles meeting of some sort, where it might be shows and things of that nature.
So
But
the trailer is really more regularly in your rear yard then?
Yes.
yeah, it's in the
Okay.
far,
It's
it's
pushed
in the
back.
far
Because,
back.
again, that's part of the requirement of a recreational vehicles. It's not supposed to be in your driveway, it's supposed to be in your rear yard.
Well-
So that's what we're trying to understand, is whether this is going to qualify within what the statute requires.
No,
Actually,
the cab is in the driveway.
Thank you, I couldn't think of
The
what.
trailer is in the back side of the lot.
I think that if we were to move the cab like behind our house, it would be more visible to Mike than it is now, because he keeps it covered up all the time, except for when
It's
he's
always
working
covered.
on it, and a lot of times he only uncovers half of it because it's a real pain to go underneath the truck and do
Are
the.
the cab and the trailer licensed separately?
Yes.
They are.
They're
Okay, So they
registered.
are considered two different vehicles.
Well,
Well, yes, but they're under the same insurance plan. It's
Well, that
they
doesn't
consider
matter.
it one vehicle.
one vehicle.
But you
Because-
have to have a license plate for both.
Well, you have
That's-
to have them both, one's a
License.
trailer.
They are registered and insured. That's not an issue.
When are they licensed and registered as a historic?
Historic.
Right.
Historic.
Yeah, they're both historic
Yeah.
vehicles.
I mean,
Well, you
more
can't
than 5
register-
years
Qualifications
old.
under that? No.
Oh, I don't know, are they commercial historical, or are they?
No.
No, they've never
They're
been used for any,
Passenger.
they've
They're-
never used.
No, that's not the question. When we ask a question whether it's commercial or not, we're not asking whether you use it for a business. Certain vehicles of certain size have to be registered as commercial, as with your bread van. So that is, when you get the historic plate, does it make a difference on the plate itself? Does it say historic commercial?
No, it does not. It only says historic, period.
I don't have a lot of experience with commercial
No,
plates.
it's just,
so I
it has
appreciate
no
that.
other reference to, it's just historical, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as the comment that my neighbor made, that I don't have a license to drive that tractor cab, you don't need one. It's under 26,000 pounds.
So he doesn't need.
It's not
that
even a
stuff.
commercial vehicle. When you get over 26,000 pounds, you have to have a commercial driver's license, and I'm well aware of that. But like I said, I've never taken the trailer out on the road. It is registered and insured. But if I combine the two and were to operate them on the highways of New York or wherever, I would then at that point need a commercial driver's license.
But you did mention that you'd take it out onto the road.
The
The
cab,
others-
the cab only.
Just to drive it around the circle.
Okay, the cab. So where is the fumes being generated? But from the cab component or the trailer component?
No,
Or
but
where-
the cab has the engine.
Okay, so why can't you do the tinkering or whatever, so that it's away from his property? I mean, so your trailer is near his property, which I understand.
No, it's not.
No, the trailer's in the back. Well, you're saying, that, but you did say that the backyard
It
makes it
was
more
there
visible to the.
Yeah, it would be
to
more
him as a
visible.
neighbor. So that's why
So
Aziz is
what-
saying that.
So what you're saying is if he's going to run it, to like pull it up the driveway, so it's a little bit further from their house?
I'm just trying to understand how the fumes got into your
Okay,
neighbor's
can I make
property.
a comment?
He has one window.
He has one
face
window on his, it would be
His west side.
his west side, which is a common boundary, which is, ours runs north-south, but it's on my east side, his west side. So he has one window on that wall, and that window, a lot of times he leaves it open. And,
Well, he has it.
whatever. So he leaves it open. And when I run my truck, if I do get any fumes in there, I say, I apologize, I have to run my truck. The thing is, my truck is sitting in my driveway, and I can't smell any fumes in my own house, which is 2 feet away. And he can, and I told him at the time that I was sorry about, the diesel fumes. I told him, what you're telling me is there's a problem with your house, really. And I said, you know what that's an indication of? Meaning he can smell diesel fumes. I said, well, your house leaks like a sieve. And
All right,
that's basically what I said.
I know.
He mentioned it.
okay. Is there anything else you'd like to offer?
No.
Or are there any other comments or questions from board members?
This is a very emotional topic for him.
I
think
understand.
you could see.
May I suggest that we close and reserve?
I
I'm not
mean-
sure we'll get any additional comments, so,
Again, you'd ask if there's any additional comments after.
yeah, I did ask already, so.
Oh, okay, so if there's no additional comments, then I make a motion to close and reserve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're not going to make a decision tonight. I think we have to mull this one over a little bit, all right? And we do have 62 days to make a decision. So January is the 14th, and then February is, when's February's meeting?
9th.
Yeah, so probably puts us right at that 62. We're going to try to do for January, but I just worry that, again, if it snows or anything like that, we'll try to get a decision to you at our next meeting. You don't have to be here, it will be sent to you. We won't take any more additional comment on this, but I think we just have to think over all that we've learned from you. Okay?
And anyone's welcome to come and get a demonstration of this truck.
All right.
Now, the sign that's in the front yard site.
You
I
can take down.
Okay.
Yes, your public hearing is concluded.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming out this evening. All right? To you too. All right, that's going to conclude our public hearings for the evening. So at this point, we have reviews. For the most part, these are going to be the first time we're seeing some of these applications. Well, very few of them we've seen already. So let's start with item number 12, Appeal 3731, Joseph Kenna, 538 Hosner Mountain Road, Stormville, is requesting a 27-foot rear line variance for an existing garage, an 11-foot rear line variance for an existing in-ground pool, a 13-foot rear line variance for an existing pool patio, and a 45-foot rear line variance for a proposed 34-foot by 22-foot detached garage pursuant to Section 194-93, 194-95, and 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. We have seen Mr. Kenna before, but not for a while. And Mr. Kenna, thank you, took our advice and actually went and pursued a lot line realignment. When you first came in, we had discussions about the fact that, we needed you to get a survey. You did, okay? You went out and got a survey. And it actually showed that the patio of your pool was on your neighbor's property. The pool was closer than we thought it was. And so based on that, you went and pursued a lot line realignment to the extent that I understand your neighbor would allow with the planning board. And so at this point, you are back having done the options that you could. You've sought out what you could related to the pool. I remember briefly that we had a discussion about whether your driveway belonged where it is in the back or whether it needed to be in the front. We resolved that issue. You do not need a driveway in the front. You are definitely allowed to have it where you have it in the back. So now you're asking for this garage. There are still a couple things on your property that we are curious about whether you're removing them or where, like the rabbit hutches. Now,
Yeah, those are on the edge of the property. I guess there's one rabbit left in there, and he's like ancient, so, but other than that, they're gone.
okay, but again, they're supposed to be 25 feet in from
I
your,
understand.
is this the rear line or this is the side yard? This is,
It's a rear yard there.
this is a rear yard, so it's supposed to be 50 feet in from the rear yard. So that's part of the problem, is I'm not sure you have 50 feet without. you might
The
hit
rabbit
50
hutches?
Yeah, but then you.
I can move them tomorrow if they need.
Okay, the rabbit hutches definitely need to move. We have an issue about there's a swing set or something, and then there's a chicken coop. Are there any chickens in the
Well,
coop?
the swing set is tied to a clubhouse. All of that is kind of one structure with a coop underneath it, and all of that is existing.
All of that's existing, but again,
Yes.
how close is it to the property line? That's what we're trying
All of
to
it's
get at.
on the new. 6.1 feet, I think, was the.
So with the new lot line alignment, all right, the neighbor gave him this property, and in return, the neighbor took this slice of property. So you're now, so the chicken coop is now 6.1 feet away. But again, you're not supposed to have chickens on less than 10 acres. So is the chicken coop going, or there are no chickens in it
Is the
anyway?
chicken coop under the treehouse? Is that
Under the
what-
treehouse, yeah. So it's basically,
But it's on the ground. If it's,
it's basically just wrapped under the four posts that are holding it up. There is a tree
Right.
there. The tree's faded over the years, so I supported it.
okay, are there chickens in it?
Yes.
Okay, well, we have to deal with that, well, you're not allowed chickens.
They're free-running chickens. They just happen to come back every night, you know? But they're loose. So, what do you want me to do? I could chase them off the property and close the gate and,
Let the coyotes catch them.
I've never heard that one
The number
before. I
has
gotta
dropped
give
down.
you credit for
From
that.
the usual amount that was there.
They don't have names, I mean.
My wife probably has names for them, It's not really my thing.
Be careful now, if they're wife's pets.
All right, we have to
Why
tell
did
you,
you have 'em
chickens are not
originally?
allowed, okay?
Okay.
So, but if that structure is going to remain, again, it's gotta be 50 feet in from that yard, but 50 feet is gonna hit your I don't know, 50 feet
This is
is...
the rear yard setback, right here.
Yeah, so, but that puts it in the side yard. So realistically, you don't have any place to put that swing set without putting, well, the swing set's allowed. Is the swing set allowed in the side yard? With
It didn't,
permission?
they just said they had to be 25 feet from property lines. It didn't, the zoning board said it's a structure and it has to be
Right.
25-foot setbacks, but
Right.
it didn't say what, if it has to
Okay.
be in the rear yard or not.
So
Because this is the,
the rear line, but
Rear
he's
line.
got, that's not, he doesn't
and
have the
this is
50
the side
feet.
yard setback.
So
He has a very small side.
you've got a very small side yard. So realistically, how old's the jungle gym? Are you going to keep that there for a couple more years?
Yeah, I mean, the jungle gym is a nice jungle gym, and it's been there
Okay.
a long time. It's in, you know,
Again, because you
well,
are,
new, it's beautiful, it's tied to everything else, and it's, you know. Can the chicken
well,
tree, I mean, the chicken coop, can that be removed? No. I was thinking maybe jungle gym could stay and the chicken coop could go.
right, the jungle gym, I think, again, because it's now less conforming because of the lot line realignment. So again, because you had to pursue that for the other issues, and you have very, very limited yard, frankly, you know, to be able to put it in that meets the setback requirements, I could see that staying. But the chicken coop just, what other use is it? What other use is that structure?
But that was.
Again,
fine.
understanding you're not allowed chickens.
That's a clubhouse that's kind of tied to the whole play set area. I mean, the chicken coop is just wire underneath the post that hold the clubhouse up.
Oh, but the clubhouse itself is in the tree.
Right.
So the clubhouse is, I'm not worried about.
Exactly.
Because it's not based on the ground.
Right, it's based in trees, but it's supported.
That's fine.
Okay.
Well,
It's supported on
it's
the
supported,
ground.
shoot.
I think it's supported on the ground.
It's definitely supported on the ground.
But it's in a
it-
tree, so
it's in
that
a
gives it a
tree.
basis for why it's there. The fact that it's, you can't have a clubhouse, a tree house, and not have it in a tree, right? Just because it's got additional supports on the ground.
You should drive by.
I should drive by, okay.
Yeah, get us some pictures and bring them in.
Do you by any chance have any pictures, or no? No?
Probably should have took some.
I think we need some pictures for the file, so.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know,
Can we
the-
ask you to bring some pictures next time?
Absolutely, but the thing is this, the clubhouse has been there for probably 15 years.
All right,
And-
did you put it there?
And the tree, what's that?
Did you put it there?
I put everything that's on that property in.
Okay.
That property was a hole, and it was, you know, it was in shambles when I bought it, and it had about 90-plus yards of garbage on it,
Okay.
if anybody recalls it, way back when.
Because the thing is, we do not allow chicken on a property less than 10 acres.
Not a problem, they'll be gone tomorrow.
Okay.
So, but it's the play, it's a clubhouse that has supports on the ground, so, but because it's anchored to a tree, how do you move it? That's why I'm
Well, it
saying.
looks like it also has a whole decking structure with the steps.
I think we need some pictures to understand
Yeah.
exactly what a tree house looks like.
Because it says frame ramp and frame steps. Are those, again,
Yeah,
anchored
just
on the
set a step.
ground, or are they?
Yeah, you have steps going to a ramp, you know, the kids kind of go up and they climb up the thing and they hold the
Yeah.
rails and, you know, it's the whole thing is tied to a play system. So it's all kind of tied together. There's swings, there's, you know, ramps going up. You know, there's a little sandbox underneath. You know, it's a basic system that you buy as a play system,
Right.
and I tied it to all of that. So it's actually pretty cool for the kids.
Right. Now, is a jungle gym somehow connected with either ropes or some kind of thing with the clubhouse?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like there's something. that
Yeah, because I
is.
see something but it doesn't say what it is. Because there seems to be a pole or something here, some kind of a bar there.
I don't know. What are we looking at exactly, huh?
I see,
See where the words jungle gym are, right above that?
what are the three structures above it?
Post.
There's a line.
Yeah, that may be like a pole, like a slide pole. There's swings over there. That's the end of it there.
Okay, all
And
right.
then, yeah, it's kind of, there's accessories to it, swings and
So
what
it's by
have
the
you,
anchor for the
slide set,
swings.
stuff like that.
Okay. All right, so the rabbit hutches you're gonna move or take down?
Yeah, they're just freestanding. It's not
Okay, so those are.
there was like
those are
5 rabbits in
movable.
there, but now there's 1 left, so.
That's fine. And then, so the garage itself, the reason you're asking for that size garage, I think you explained last time around, you just have a lot of stuff that you want to be able to
I have no
put-
basement in it. There's no basement in that house.
Okay.
It's on rock, so everything is up from there. It's
But you
not,
do have an existing
I have-
you do have an existing garage already on the property?
Yes.
Okay. So, but I think you explained last time that you wanted to store stuff in this.
Well,
get
I
it out
have,
of your
I
yard.
have 4 kids. They're all driving now for the most part, except for 1 left, which, and, the next year and a half, she'll be driving. So, I got more cars, I got,
Okay. And have you discussed this with your neighbor? The garage and?
Yes.
Okay.
He's in the loop on all of that, so there's no issues there. He worked with me on the lot alignment, we went back and forth and came to an agreeable amount that worked for both of us.
Right.
Obviously it infringed on my back area there with the swing set and all of that, but that was really the most viable option
Right.
to really not interpede with him too much and interpede with me, so.
We understand. And again, we appreciate the fact that you went to that trouble because that helps with our decision related to your pool, so.
Yes.
All right, any other comments or questions from board members?
I think we just need some photographs for the next meeting. Other than that, I'm good.
So what do we do about the swing set in the treehouse, clubhouse?
Was that not all listed on variances?
Well, that's what we need the pictures for, so we can see what that's really about.
Yeah, what that,
All right, so I think we're gonna have to see this one more time before we schedule it for public hearing.
Okay.
So we can better understand what that is.
The only other thing is to ask for a variance for it, and then
Right,
determine it's not needed, so we can go either way.
You wanna do that? Up to
I
you.
don't have a problem with that.
yeah. And again, if rabbit hutches are going to be moved into the
Yeah.
property, or they're going to be completely gone?
They can be completely gone. I mean,
Well,
like
you
I
can
said,
move
there's
the
1
one
rabbit
close-
left,
You can move the one closer.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
fine,
all.
and then the other 2 are,
Yeah,
they're.
because the more issues that we remove, the easier it is to make
Yeah.
a decision.
My neighbor has no issues with those hutches. So,
Yeah, but-
it's just, obviously they're there, but
That's
As far as
something you can-
issues with
that's
the
something
neighbors,
you
there's
can
none.
pick up and move, so.
I understand, no
All
problem.
right, if you want to move it multiple times during the year and it's temporary in its location, so be
Okay,
it.
fair enough.
With the proposed garage, is that 1 story or 2 stories? Do you have site plan on that?
Probably would be just like a peak roof on it with some storage up top, like attic space,
Do you have?
versus
like
a flat roof.
Are you
What-
getting it, are you building it, or do you have some kind of, like a model
Is it
of?
prefab or
like
is it
prefab that you have?
No, I built everything on that property. I'm a carpenter.
That's good.
Is it going to match your house? I mean, you're
Yes,
using
it'll-
siding.
Yeah, it'll totally conform with what's there.
So,
Just understand, that's not always the answer that we get, so we ask that
No, I understand.
to understand better.
so the question with the gym is, he needs variances for it in front of the rear line of the house? What are we concerned about?
Assuming it's 6 feet away, he needs
Yeah.
4-foot variance,
6 feet away.
So that's the tree house.
the rear yard.
Yeah.
I said
Well, the whole thing is all
Part of
connected.
it.
oh,
Yeah, this is 23 feet away, so he needs it because.
The whole, yeah,
yeah.
it's all connected, is what he's telling
And
you.
once you
I-
move it
if
up,
it-
there will be in the front of the rear. I mean, if
I
you
got
move
it.
Yeah.
I got it. So I think we just asked for a variance for the whole thing.
Okay.
We're
Yeah,
discussing
that's-
It's
the-
probably the safest thing to
Is
do
this-
anyway, since it's connected. So a lot of it's on the ground, some of it's supported by the
Right.
tree.
It looks like we
If
also
it's-
might need a side yard,
So-
if that's part of it, right, in your,
It's a very small side
is
yard.
this part of it?
Yeah.
Side yard,
It's,
Yeah, this,
Gotta go.
oh, for that little tiny piece.
yeah, that's only one.
Yeah, it's 1.1 feet too close, apparently.
25 feet. So it
Yeah,
is
it's a 20, he has a 30-foot requirement or a 25-foot
side yard. It's 25.
side yard?
it's 30.
It's saying 30 here for some reason.
R3 is 30 feet.
It is
Well,
30
when
feet.
was the house
Okay,
built?
Thank
Well,
you.
the house was built in 1995.
When is the play, it's the play equipment?
No. If the property was before 1985, it only has to meet R1 setbacks, which would
Okay.
be 25 feet.
When was your house built? When did you?
94, 95.
Around 95.
Yeah.
Was there a previous house there before that?
It was like a trailer on the property.
But it
I don't know
depends
where
on
that
when the
is.
lot, Mary.
Yeah,
It depends on when the lot was
created.
created.
So I don't know when that was.
How do we find out? It's a difference of whether we need a 2-foot variance for the play equipment or not, side yard variance. Should we advertise for it anyway, and if we don't?
Do we have the full survey?
All right, let's do that.
We can find, we can.
Oh,
No,
this,
it was done in 81.
yeah, okay, so
Yeah.
there's a subdivision, there's a map on the plan that says it was filed by subdivision in 1981.
Okay, well then,
So
So
we're
then he
okay,
needs
well, no,
25.
then it's okay with the 25
they
feet.
need 25 feet.
Okay, so the play equipment is okay for a side yard, but it would need a 44-foot rear yard setback.
I'm thinking that play equipment only has to meet 25 feet.
25 feet?
Both rear and
I
side.
think
They
you're
didn't
right.
specify, they just said 25 feet when the zoning board did the interpretation.
Well, it's only 6.1, so it still needs at least
I
19 feet.
looked through the zoning regulations, and I couldn't find anything
It's-
to
That's why we always
distinguish.
clarify with Mary.
Because it was an interpretation,
Yeah.
so it's not within the zoning code itself.
Okay, so we'll go with 19 feet?
Yeah, I would say.
Okay.
And for this swing
For
set?
the swing, jungle gym, swing set clubhouse.
So we just need to make a note that jungle gyms generally under the code require a 25-foot setback
Right.
requirement for both side and.
And there's no pool equipment shown on here? Where is your pool equipment?
Because that's the other thing, if it's, even if this was R30, if it only requires 25 feet, we wouldn't have to worry about it either.
Yeah.
So we
You want me to
just
show you it?
Where's the pool?
Here,
So that
just
looks like
behind the
it's gonna be
garage
something
where it
too.
says frame steps and deck.
It's really underneath the top landing of that step going up to the upper level in the back there. It's underneath
Is
that.
that 25 feet from the rear
Doesn't
yard,
look
from the
like
rear
it.
line?
No, the garage is saying.
The garage is 23 and a half.
So it's
Yeah, so
not.
it's,
You need a
no, it's
variance
further in, yeah, it's further in, at least 3 or 4 feet.
From the rear lot line. That-
Rear, further in,
Further,
closer to the
To the main house there,
house?
yeah.
You're awfully
Where is
close
it
there.
exactly?
Right here. If that's the rear lot line, he should be 50 feet away with the garage, right?
Yeah. It's 23 feet, 23.
So Mary, the existing frame garage that's attached to the house,
Yes,
is that okay where it is, or do we need a variance for that too while we're doing this?
we'll do it.
No, that's for the new garage.
It's already-
That's for this one.
No.
Oh, for the existing garage, we already have. So we need it for the play, for the pool equipment then too.
You got it. Oh, it's already listed?
that's right.
It's already listed,
Oh.
yes.
That's how
And
it
this
ended up.
too,
that way.
where am I? Is that a variance already?
Yeah, that was requested.
Frame deck?
Frame deck, corner one, other corner.
Garage existing, 50-foot required, 23 and a half existing.
Got it.
And what about the frame deck that's next to the chimney?
Yeah, it looks like the deck needs it too.
We don't have a distance for that. The
But
corner
is
of the
that-
ha-
is
the
that
corner of
far-
the house is 51.4 feet, but we don't have a distance from the corner of the.
Well, you
frame
do,
deck.
it's,
No, this is
Oh.
to this point,
yeah, so it's less.
the
it's
frame
gonna
deck,
be-
yeah. Because this is the rear yard
How
setback.
big is your deck? Do you know how big that frame deck is?
Maybe like a 10 by 10, something like that.
We've got it calculated for us right now.
Yeah,
The advantage of bringing your professional.
there you go.
10 by 10.
10 by 10?
Yeah, it's right
So
there.
realistically, what's past that dotted line in the setback? 7 feet of the 10 feet?
Maybe
7 feet.
8.
Okay.
So
So
we need a,
it's 43 feet.
So we need Pam, we need to add 43-foot rear line variance for the deck, for the 10-foot by 10-foot deck, existing.
no, it's
No.
7 foot.
I'm sorry, it needs a
7
7-foot, thank you.
Oh.
You have to reverse our math. He's got the 43 feet, he needs a 7-foot variance. All right, anything else on here?
I'm tired.
So we need the pool equipment too.
Pool equipment would be around 23 feet or 22 feet.
We need 50 for the pool equipment?
25.
25, all right. Well, I would argue that we probably should measure exactly where that is. Because
Okay.
Mr. Ken is saying that it's back some from the corner of the
Okay.
house.
Yeah, it isn't right on the corner. It's definitely over a couple of feet.
If we give it a 3-foot variance, are we
Yeah.
covered?
I'm just trying to avoid having to give any variance.
Understood. If you
Okay.
call us in the next day or two, we won't
Okay.
advertise for that, that's fine. But
Fair
again, let's just cover
Okay.
all bases and
Yeah.
we take it off, but if the board's okay with a 3-foot
Okay.
variance? Because again,
The deck that you're talking about, is that what's coming off of the garage?
no, off the three-story frame dwelling.
There's another deck that's coming off the 2-story frame garage.
That's the one I thought you were talking about.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
I'm talking about this one in the corner, next to a chimney.
There's another one next,
Next
behind the
to the
Frame,
garage.
step, and deck, okay.
What's up by the detached garage?
Well, is the
I mean,
frame
attached
step?
garage.
Yeah,
has
is
a
that, is
landing
that just a
coming off,
landing
yeah.
for a set
Yeah,
of
it's
stairs?
just a
That- If
landing.
if this other one is 10 foot by 10 foot, that's barely gonna be,
Yeah, but how close is the setback of that to, should we take, because that's gonna be closer
I thought
to
they
the
were
property
saying-
Isn't that-
line.
isn't that
If that's
just part,
part
if
of
it's a
the garage.
landing for the stairs, isn't that just part of the garage?
It's a second story landing probably. I'm just saying that that's a structure and it's closer to the property
Yeah, that's a lot
line
of
than the garage,
steps.
so you should go
Understood,
back
but
and-
because it's not really a deck that you're gonna put a chair on it, it's just the landing for a set of stairs, is it a separate deck, or is it?
I wouldn't say it's separate deck, I'm just saying that that portion of the structure is closer to, maybe closer to the
Yeah.
property line than the corner of
That's
the
what you're
garage.
saying, okay, got it.
And my confusion is I thought they said they had a variance for that garage already. Did I misunderstand?
Yeah, we didn't say we had a variance for it. We said we were asking for it.
It's already on
Oh,
our list.
we're asking
It's
for it.
already on our list.
Oh,
I
you're
think
already
that's-
asking
That
for
should
it.
be
Yeah,
part of
So
that.
that,
Just
the
All right, so
variance
we'll
requested
include
should be
the
a couple
This
feet
is
more.
from the corner of the deck instead of from the.
If your landing's closer than the corner of the garage?
So how far is the corner of that deck to the property line?
That's another.
So do you
More
understand
than
what we're saying?
20.
That, so you really need a little bit more of a variance, because the landing is a part of that structure, so
Okay.
we can't go by the corner of the garage, we've got to go by
We
the
need
corner
50.
of that
So we're
landing.
asking for 27, we should probably ask for 30.
Well, can you get a measurement on that?
I can give you,
If
I
you're
can
gonna-
scale something. I mean, it's,
If you're at 27 for the corner of the garage, where do you?
it's about 20. A little more than 20, somewhere between 20 and 21
So
to the corner of the
the
deck.
23 and a half feet now becomes 20 feet from the rear
Right.
line, so you now need a 30-foot variance
Right.
for the garage with the existing stairs and landing. Thank you for everybody's help on this one. Anything else?
It's both of them.
What about the
Version, right?
fence?
Fence?
The lattice and frame fence? That's okay, right?
Yeah,
It's
And
in,
also, I think that's already 2 feet further in, and it's
yeah, right?
probably just 4 foot, right?
a 4
The
foot.
fence around the patio and pool is within your property now?
Yeah,
That's correct.
Okay.
Is it a 4 foot or a 6 foot?
4 foot.
It's no problem.
Okay, motion to advertise.
I thought we were gonna wait until next go around for the photographs.
No, what Jim had said was he'd be okay if we
As
get
for
the
the
photographs at the, we've had other applicants bring their
And
photographs.
my last comment was, since they are all connected, you could argue that that's one structure.
Go run through it all?
Yeah.
Okay, Pam wants us to, before we address, let's just make sure we have everything we need.
Okay.
And I guess that's the question.
Pam, run through what you have, okay?
A 19-foot rear line for the swing set in the clubhouse.
Because that's 6 feet, yes.
Yes.
A 44-foot rear line for the chicken coop.
We're not, it's not a,
We're gonna call it a clubhouse or something.
it's a clubhouse. There's no
Okay.
chicken coop there.
Chickens
are gonna
There's
be
a
gone.
clubhouse.
All right.
Chickens are going.
Chickens are gone, they're free range.
You don't need 44 because
With
we
names.
decided that that only needs a 25.
25,
so
right.
He only needs 19 foot for the swing set. Jungle gym.
With the clubhouse.
That's what we said, 19
19
feet.
foot. Oh, I thought you said
Right.
44.
No, 19,
That was the chicken coop, but,
that's gone.
all right,
Start again.
3-foot rear line for the pool equipment.
Yes, that he's going to call, and Mr. Ken is going to call and let us know whether we really need that 3 foot for the
Okay, yeah, I'll
pool
double check
equipment.
that.
Isn't it 18? Or, oh, never mind.
It's,
20.
Pool equipment needs 25, right?
No, the,
Yes.
It needs 25.
It's 6.1 from the property line to the tree.
25 foot is what Mary says a playground has.
But it's 6.1, so 19. would
it's
be a
it's
little-
19. That's what we
Okay.
said. We're okay. No, the backwards and forwards with the math is, it's tough to think that way if you're used to thinking a different way, that's all. All right, so Pam, keep going. The 3 foot for the pool equipment.
Right.
Right.
7-foot rear line for the 10 by 10 frame deck next to the chimney.
Cool, yeah. Correct?
Okay. A 30-foot rear for the garage with
Including,
the stairs and the landing.
yeah, okay.
Correct.
Existing, yeah. And then what's on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
And the pool patio is on the agenda.
Yes. Yes.
And the equipment.
Pool equipment is 3 feet.
That's,
I think we got it.
And the proposed garage.
And the proposed garage,
Garage.
yes.
Yeah.
That's already on
Okay.
for list.
I guess you can remove the 27-foot rear line variance for the existing garage because you're going to go with the 20-foot.
Yes.
It's all part of that.
It's all part of that,
30 foot,
right.
yeah.
thank you.
Or just change it on your agenda to make it 30 feet, yes.
And just put including deck.
With the decibel. Is that a motion to advertise?
So
Seconded.
moved. So
All in
moved.
favor? Aye. All right, Pam will give you your instructions for your sign, all right? And then we will see you next month.
Excellent, thank you.
And
Thank you.
If you can print some pictures, that'll also help.
Got it.
Thank you.
And thank you for working through this with us, because this was a lot, but we'll get it done. All right, item number 14, Appeal 3764 Cosden. Arthur Cosden, 7 Pellbridge Drive, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 6-foot sideline variance for an existing carport pursuant to Section 194-17 of the zoning ordinance.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Mr. Cosden, if you don't mind, if you can explain what you're looking for here.
Well, can I show you a
Yep,
diagram?
Come on up.
There's a lot there.
It's really a canvas covered, it's a metal frame with a canvas cover.
Which is not allowed by code. So is
It
that?
isn't?
No.
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 The building department told me the only thing I need the variance because it's 19 feet from my neighbor's property.
All right.
the
Canvas-covered structures are temporary structures. They are not allowed as permanent structures. If you're seeking a variance, you're looking for something that's going to be a permanent structure.
I said,
So, do you have an intention of making this a permanent wooden structure, or no?
no.
Canvas works for 180 days.
What?
For 180 days canvas.
Yeah. Is it just for the winter, or is it just for the summer? What's,
Well, I have a 2-car garage and I have 3 cars, so I didn't want to build another garage. I just wanted to keep one of them in there for the winter, that's all.
all right, if we don't mind, we'll like to have your conversation on the microphone there. So you wanted this to go in the winter to be in this structure?
Right.
So you would be taking it down in the summer?
No,
No.
so it has to be taken down.
Because,
6 months, it can be there 180.
yeah, we don't want to be giving a variance for a canvas-covered structure. That's not what we want to be encouraging in this town, so. Plus, the weight of the snow is not good for those structures to begin with, but
Well, it's a metal frame, so it supports the
That-
canvas, but
doesn't help always, so. I'm not seeing that this is something that we can even grant a variance for.
okay. Okay.
All right? So in this case, we have to refund his application fee. Big swell, but
70.
70?
70 of 75.
Okay, so do I have a motion to
So moved.
refund
Yeah.
70 of the $75 fee?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right?
So
Pam
how
will get
long
that
do
to
I
you.
have to take it down?
It's allowed to be up for 6 months.
So
You put it up for this
It's
winter?
there already?
It's there already,
So you,
How long has it been there?
about 12 years.
Oh. Your 6 months is up already.
Well, I mean, I have to find somebody to take it down. I take it apart and take it down.
yeah, as long as you make good faith efforts to get it down, at some point, if you don't take it down, the town will stop by and cite you for it, so just make sure you make a good faith effort to do it.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay.
They're not gonna be there tomorrow, I presume, to yell at you, but
After the holiday.
Mary, you're not
after
going
the
to be
holidays,
there tomorrow, right?
maybe. Bah humbug, yeah.
Exactly. All right, thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. All right, item number 15, Appeal 3768. I don't want to say this wrong. Gaucher? Gaucher. Okay, thank you. Todd W. and Diane Gaucher, 39 Brown Road, Wappingers Falls, New York, are requesting a 19-foot sideline variance for an existing 10-foot by 10-foot shed pursuant to Section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. All right, this is the first time we're seeing your application, so if you don't mind just taking us through, when did the shed go up?
We bought the house in 1993, and I have copies of the surveys. There's 2 sheds that are on the property. When I went to get a demolition permit to fill in my pool, the building inspector came out and said, you have problems, you got 2 sheds, and you've got, and he said, when we bought the house, I
So
said,
it
I got
was-
in the survey.
It was there already?
Yes, I've got extra copies of the survey I was
Okay,
told
so
to bring.
you didn't put it here?
No.
And have your neighbors ever complained about it?
No, as a matter of fact, the neighbors have changed in the house next door, which is where this is on the property. That house was condemned, it was just bought by a building company that's totally renovating it. So
okay.
we don't have any existing neighbors on that side.
The sheds weren't put up in 93, that's when you bought the house and it was already there.
Yes,
Do you know when the house was built?
I believe it was built in '64.
It was sometime between 64 and 93 it went up, you don't know when.
No, no. And like I said, I've got copies of the survey if you want to see it.
You have the copy?
Yeah, we would-
Yes,
Yeah.
I
We have
brought.
it. It's on our,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we have it as part of the application.
Okay, I thought you had something separate.
Oh, no, no, no.
We have it already.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this survey was done
In '93 when we bought
93,
the house, right?
93.
That's when we bought the house.
Okay, so the house was built in 1960?
I think it was built in '65.
65.
I mean, is the shed movable? Just, you have to get the question.
No, not really. And the other shed that's on there, that one has been moved
Okay.
because he said that one had to go behind the rear property line. So that one was moved.
Got it,
It's the other
okay.
one that's over on the,
But this one's old enough that it's, I mean, it's at least 22 years old, so
Yeah,
it's old
that's-
enough that
that-
moving
that
it
one's
would
not gonna
put it
be-
in
yeah,
jeopardy.
that's not-
Okay.
See,
How do we know
this-
I'm sorry, how do we know it's a 19-foot variance? I can't even read that.
Pam, do you have a bigger size of this survey, or? Usually Pam has a bigger size and she shrinks it for us. You have a fence on this property? Can you tell me how tall your fence is?
oh, it's this high. It's
Okay, so
it's a combination. There's an old,
because
like
it's
chicken
not,
wire.
it's in front of the rear line of your house, so it can't be more than 4 feet, that's all.
Right, it's not.
That's fine.
I want to say your wife dropped this off and then she called, right?
Probably, yes.
Okay. No, I don't have a larger one.
All right, that's
I mean,
what,
the shed is very
John,
close
that's
to
what
the
we have,
edge.
so that's
That's,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like, from the picture, that it's probably closer than 6 feet.
It is.
'Cause she said it
You
was
basically
6
can
and a
fit a
half.
wheelbarrow and maybe another foot or two, and that's it.
So it's about 4 feet, maybe 5.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's kind of angled, so the
So a
back corner
19,
is a little closer.
a 19-foot sideline variance is going to be, it's telling us that the rear of that shed is 6 feet away from the property line. But if you're
I
saying
don't know exactly where
wheelbarrow,
the,
it's
I'm not,
fine.
I'll be honest, I don't know exactly where the property line is. I know there was an old fence, and it could be if it's 6 feet, if it touches, if it ends, my property ends where the neighbor's driveway starts. That's always been kind of unknown. And with now the neighbor there, I'm not sure where the property line is.
Is the
Well-
stockade fence still there or is it gone?
No, it's gone. That part is gone, and that was a much higher fence. That was actually 6 feet.
Okay.
So that's
When-
gone.
When you squeeze your wheelbarrow between the fence and the property line, are you going to the other side of the stockade fence where it used to be? Can you tell?
No, I don't think so, because I think
So
it's...
you might have 6 feet.
The
It's
house-
possible, but
The house is 45.1 feet to the line.
And
So
this
that'll kinda tell
this is
you.
10 feet. The shed is 10 foot by 10 foot, so.
No, I'm just saying, if he measures from the corner of the house out.
Yeah, if it's
he'll get
10
an
by
idea
10
of where
foot,
the
there's no
property
way.
line is.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
yeah, that's true. Okay, so if you go from the corner of your house out 45 feet,
Okay,
45.1,
And then you can just back up.
back up to where the back of the shed is,
okay,
and that will tell us,
okay.
all right? Again, that's the benefit of having a survey.
And then it's a little bit of an angle, so if you go to the
The closest corner, the
The
corner that's
closest corner,
closest to the property line.
you're still gonna have to guesstimate a little bit because of based on the angle of the shed.
All right, so and then if you can call Pam with that in the next
Measurement.
couple of days with that measurement,
Okay,
then if we're gonna take care of this, let's get it right,
okay.
okay? But again, the reason I think we're not giving you a hard time is the fact that you didn't put it there, so you bought the house with that there, so,
Now, I want to be clear, I'm supposed to measure from the edge of the shed to the property line, and I'll determine that by going from the side of the house, 45.1 feet.
45.1 feet, correct,
Okay, that I can do.
okay? Because our guess is it's probably only 3 or 4 feet, not 6 feet. But-
Right, I don't think it's 6 feet.
Okay.
But at least you have one measurement from the back corner of your house
Right.
to your property line. And if you measure that first, then you can just go parallel and,
Now, what this doesn't show, back in 2001, we did a renovation, and where it was all, the building department came out, and we got to show and everything. So I'm not exactly sure if,
Is there another addition on here, on this side?
I think it just went out back. I don't think the side of the house should still be the same, so the
There's
45.1
a
feet should...
concrete patio behind your house, in that corner there?
That concrete
I wouldn't really call it a
patio.
patio, it's basically...
Concrete block?
That patio is gone.
That's what I was
Okay.
just gonna ask
Is
you.
that where your
That's
addition
where the
is?
addition is, yes.
Okay, so you should still be okay then?
Yes. Yeah, we didn't build out closer to the property, the edge of the property.
Okay.
We went back, so
But
that's
I would
45.
still try to make sure you're going sort of from that angle, because what I can't tell is whether the side of your house is exactly parallel to the property line or not.
I don't think it is.
So I would try to, go from the same place where the arrows are on your thing. You understand what I'm saying? And get your measurement for your 46.1 feet.
Okay,
All right, and then call Pam in the next couple days,
okay.
okay?
And as long as you get pretty
Pam's at
darn
the end of
close, we'll try to,
She's in the blue?
No, in the gray.
the one with the hand up. As long as you get pretty darn close, we're gonna give you a little bit extra to make sure you don't have a problem.
Right.
Okay?
All right, so Pam, you'll round it off to the next foot, just to be on the safe side. All right, okay for...
motion to
advertise?
advertise.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, Pam will give you your instructions to your sign. You'll call her in the next couple days with that measurement, and then we'll see you next month.
Okay, so I call in a couple days or I get the instructions?
You get the
You can do it
instructions
tomorrow, I mean,
now.
yeah, you can do it tomorrow. Yeah.
All right. Go Shay.
Get the night down there so you remember next time.
The phone number's
That's what I'm doing. Go she, no, go Shay.
Of course, they got you.
I know, that's what I... All right, item number 16, Appeal 3769, Reland. Did I get that right? Ryland, okay. Richard Ryland, 22 King Road, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 9-foot front line variance for a proposed covered front porch pursuant to Section 194-94 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Rick Ryland, and my wife Beverly and I live at 22 King Road. We've lived there 15 years, and we would like to put a front porch on the house, and when I went to apply for the building permit, we discovered that there is a 50-foot front line.
You're right at that line.
I'm right there, yeah.
50.9 feet.
Yes, so sheet 2, and it really shows from on parcel access, the kind of the neighborhood layout, and sheet 3 is really the money chart there that shows what the situation is, and it's backed up by the survey on 4 and 5.
And so how wide is the deck that you're proposing to wrap around the house there?
It's an 8-foot floor, but it's got the overhang with the roof, so it's like around 10 foot.
You count the eave?
Yes.
There's pictures of the house.
No, when you measure,
We count the eave, right,
No.
Mary?
I don't think so.
We count the eave? Yes.
No,
Projecting architectural features.
no. You go from the corner of a house, you don't go from the eave.
I've been told before we go by the eave.
No, I don't think so.
Huh?
If you drop something down, that's where.
Look at sheet 7, it shows
Does it still
what we're talking
requires
about. The
base on it?
9.9. The 9 foot 9 inch, that's to the eave
Because fireplace.
Okay.
on sheet 7.
This- Projecting architectural features, the spacing on any required yard shall be open and unobstructed, except for the ordinary projections of windowsills, belt courses, cornices, eaves, and other architectural features, provided, however, that such features shall not project more than 2 feet into any required yard.
See?
So it's not come out 2 feet, but anything beyond that.
You don't count the eave as long as you're not sticking way out.
What about the
But
stairs?
even Mary had to go check, okay? So.
What about the stairs?
The stairs you have to count.
Stairs need to be set up.
Yeah.
Right, and
the
if
stairs
you look at the
come out.
survey, the house is not parallel to the property line, so the closest corner is that 51 9 inches. And we got 2 foot of stairs, there's 3 stairs, but one of them's under the eave, right? So,
Well, no, we
The
go by
stairs
the
have to
bottom
meet the
step.
setback.
The stairs have to meet the setback. You have,
So are the stairs
you have
another
4 risers.
13 feet?
right, and they're wide stairs, so it's 3 feet. But if you look at the side view on sheet 7, that 9 foot 9 inches actually covers that first step. So there's another
Wow.
2 feet.
Well, we don't, what you want to do is measure your 8 foot for your porch,
Mhm.
and then add to that
The 3 steps. That's 11 foot.
Yeah, so you confused me by saying the 9, so you got,
Because he's going by the eave,
yeah.
by the
But you
projection.
got me confused. What is the length of your steps? And look at, this is the other problem though,
I'll show you
because your porch isn't 8 feet.
if you look at sheet
You're
11.
8 foot to the middle of your footings. Your porch is extending more than 8 feet. If I'm looking at your picture right, your diagram correct. You need to calculate exactly how far out from the house you're coming so we can calculate everything.
Yeah, I think the finished space, usable space is going to be the 8 feet.
It says 8
Well-
foot 7 on that one.
But you still have, you know, you're not going by the railing, you're going by how far the deck sticks
Right.
out.
Right.
So, it looks to me like you know, 8.5 feet plus your steps, which is probably another 30 inches, right?
So it's probably more like 12 foot, not 11. But if you look at the survey, the house is at a bit of an angle to the property line. So I can't really tell how much that projects in away from the line.
Well, yeah, your steps aren't going to be coming,
They're going to be centered pretty much. There's actually a slab there now that's probably in violation because it's the house is 51
We make-
foot.
yeah, yeah, we usually don't count slabs for some reason. I don't understand the logic, but that's the way it's done.
Okay.
When was the house built?
Yeah, when was the house built?
1980.
80.
So it's been there for a while.
There's an 8-foot easement, like if you look at the parcel access, I don't know that it matters because you go to the property line, but from a practical standpoint, there's another 8 foot up to the road.
Yeah, that's typical.
How about other houses on the street? Are they all lined up with your house?
Um,
I'm not familiar with this street.
Actually, if you look at that sheet 2, you can kind of see some of the houses there. My next door neighbor is a little deeper, and the house further down just put a front porch on, and they didn't have to get a variance, so they were,
Yeah, because they're a little bit further back.
yeah, they're 60 foot.
you're the closest.
The land drops off, and I think that's why they pushed the house to the front of the lot. But the house across the street does not have as much room as I have, so.
So you don't have much of a backyard?
I'm sorry?
So you don't have much of a backyard, is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I have a huge backyard. It's wooded.
Well, usable backyard, you said it drops off, that's what I'm trying to get to. Is it steep? What?
It probably drops down from King Road down to Old Sylvan Lake. There is probably a 50-foot drop.
I mean, it just helps that, to confirm why your house was pushed up to the front and whether that prevents your porch. It's just an argument you could be made as to why.
Where's your septic?
The other side.
Three.
This is the one.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you.
I got your packet.
She got the color application.
Because actually, the house diagonally across from you is much closer to the road than you, right?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
And the house, I mean, the last three sheets have actual pictures of the house that might be helpful. They should have been in the front. 17, 18, and 19 really show the house.
I think that porch will make a nice addition to your house.
I hope so.
Oops. I rotate.
If you see on sheet 18, the picture of the house there, you see the walkway there? The porch doesn't come out as far as the walkway. The walkway's about 11 foot out. So just to give you a perspective.
Yeah, it's really a good slope there.
Much different. We can swap it.
I mean, we have to ask the question, is there a way, I mean, does it have to be 8 feet? Can it be 6 feet? I mean, you're going to have a chair that's...
My wife will kill me. She wants a swing, and the swing is like 7 foot.
Okay. Okay, so the next question is...
So you'd be responsible for my injuries.
I'm just asking the question.
You have to go 8 feet off the side, and she has to swing on the side of the house.
Put it on your side. That's true.
Or the question is, can you set the steps into the deck? So the steps don't need to come out an additional, however far they have to come out. Can you set them into the deck?
You see where they are on the first page?
That's what I'm...
I can't imagine doing anything different than that unless they come off the side, but...
No, what I'm saying is,
missing-
instead of having the full 8-foot depth there, can the first step or two actually be set into the deck so the railings
Right. No, I think I
are
understand
coming
what you're
down
saying.
there?
For example...
It just wouldn't as protrude as far out. That's all.
Right.
See, for example, if you look at your picture, your railing's actually set in about a foot or whatever, 10 inches from the edge of the deck.
Yes.
If that was, that first step down, that first riser was even with your post,
Right.
you would take some...
I'm with you. Save a foot.
Because
Yeah.
what worries me
Yeah.
is if we approve this, realistically, the next person can replace this deck with the full deck being out 12 feet
I'm with you.
instead of 8 feet, because that's what we approved.
Because the steps would save that space.
So I think we just have to see how we can
Tighten it up.
minimize it and tighten it up, exactly. So, and steps set into the deck aren't, there's nothing wrong with that. It still gives you the 8-foot depth or width for your swing, but just where those stairs are, it just makes it a little bit closer.
And actually, I don't know, looking at the picture of your front, can you do away with a riser? With a little fill or something? How much is it?
Oh, you mean reduce one? I was going for a lower profile step. Wide, low steps for old people like me.
That. But my question is, if you put a little fill so your steps, your sidewalk came in
Raise it up.
a little higher, you get rid of a step that way too. I mean, like your low risers, you're only raising the sidewalk 6 inches.
I can find a way to save a foot from what you guys are suggesting, but it'd be a little tough beyond that, I think. If you look, so it'd be a,
I mean, because you want to use your same sidewalk, right? Is that all concrete?
no, it's brick. I'm planning on, I'll probably rip that up, but it's going to be in the same place.
That's what I'm saying. You're sloping down from the road.
I can add,
A little less slope, you could come up, I don't know, maybe without changing anything for your, it's almost like you get away with like 1 or 2 steps, or 1 step. coming down.
Or add more
See,
to
because
the
you have-
walkway instead,
Yeah.
which,
Because I'm a little bit
Isn't-
confused now that I look at this closely. Your
You have a step
top of
there,
your
yeah.
deck, yeah, your top of your deck is gonna be even with your concrete slab that's there. Why do you have it coming? I mean, in the middle of the house, obviously it slopes down to the garage side of your house.
Yes.
So your deck will be higher, but on from the door over to the other side, it almost looks like your porch should be almost one step high, that's it.
Now, if you look at, I'm just going to the current elevation, it's pretty accurate, I think. If you go on sheet 6, it shows the front view. Sheet 7 shows the side view, and that's where the land is. I mean, I can't add ground to it and save a foot. So the variance
let me look at
request would be 8 foot instead of 9 foot? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, that's, or like I said,
Yeah.
push it in a step, kind of just push it back into
Yeah,
the.
or
I
if
think
you're
you could add a
replacing
little
the
fill in the
walkway
middle.
coming up, add another stair in the walkway.
That's what I'm saying.
And raise the elevation.
I think you can get away with 2 risers is probably what you could do, or I think you can make that a lot shorter.
I'm looking at your sheet 17, and basically I'm trying to imagine from your front door, your deck coming out. It's gonna be maybe one step.
No, it's actually, the steps I have in there now come right from a step below the entrance door, and there's 3 steps there now.
Correct, but again, you're coming out 8 feet more towards your current steps right now approximately, because your property starts to slope further up as you go towards the door.
Right, no, but I'm on the house side of the walk there. It's 3 steps, there's no way around it. I mean,
I can see that.
given the current land, that's what it is.
I think I see what you're saying. It was a little bit deceiving when I was looking at it from the other angle. I see
Yeah.
the 3 steps
It
now.
does drop away both
But
sides.
I think for that in between, I mean, obviously you don't want to make it so that all the water coming down is going to the middle of your house. But I think when you come out, you could put a little fill there at the top and probably shorten it. Look at it, see if you can do away with,
With the
you know,
step.
see if you can do away with 1 step and then fold one of those risers in on the deck a little bit and therefore save the width of 2 of your
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty clear why there's that hill in front of the driveway, because
Yeah.
the house is only 50 feet away from the road.
Yeah.
So they had no ability in new construction to put that, put steps up there.
Yeah, the other thing too is on sheet 5, yeah, like I mentioned before, the house doesn't sit parallel to the
Correct.
property border, so that 50 foot 9 inches to the closest corner of the house.
Yep.
So I gain a little bit there.
So, and that's part of it. If you tuck those steps in and we grant you 8, so you get 8 feet on that side, it may be that you're not gonna need any more than that along the whole width because of the angle. We'll have to sort of, and that's gonna be part of our problem.
Yeah.
We're not gonna know exactly what to give you unless you can you're getting these measurements 41 and 31 from what?
From the survey. Well, 41 and 31 are the survey minus 10 feet. That's all that is.
Oh, so that's minus 10 feet. So at that corner, I mean,
That 50 foot 9 inches of survey number to that corner. And so I took 10 foot or basically it's 50 foot 9 inches, and to the outside eave, I was 9 foot 9 inch because I thought that's where I had to go to.
that's fine, except that your greatest protuberance, whatever you want to call it, from your house is going to be the deck plus your steps, and that's in the middle. So it'd be really nice to know the distance from the middle of your house out to the road.
Right, so I could,
How old is your survey? It's an old survey?
2000.
I mean,
You know,
is this
who
it?
did it?
Yeah, who did it? Are they still around?
I
don't
think
know
it
if they
was
can give that to you.
There was one survey by Commons on it.
Yeah, he's around,
He's in Poughkeepsie.
yeah.
We're not going to be able to figure out exactly how much of a variance you need until you make those adjustments and then get the distance from that to the road. Because if you need 8.5 feet at that corner, you may need, that's the total you may need.
Right. No, I know what you're saying now.
Because again,
So
we
if I can get rid
gotta
of-
be careful. New construction, it was reason it couldn't go any further, or that you couldn't have a deck in the front there. We have to be really careful about if we consider this
No, I understand.
and minimize it.
So if they're around and they still have this in their computer or whatever, they might be able to tell you that, or they may just come out and do a quick measurement from you from their prior survey without questioning your arm and a leg.
So we really need a dimension, a survey dimension to the,
What the corner of your...
to the middle of the house to the
Where
road,
the stairs are gonna be.
or the middle of the house to the property line.
So if your steps are 6 feet wide, whatever you're gonna do,
Yeah.
so obviously the
3 foot.
edge of the step that's closest to the closest corner, that's, it's hard to express myself, I guess, but that's where you need.
Right.
But the closest part of your proposal is to the road.
Right. And again, I
it
think,
may end up that if you make it to 2 risers or whatever, tuck some of it into your porch, that it's enough of a slant that you end up with just an 8.5 foot variance. Or you really an 8 foot because you're what, 50, what's your measurement, 50.9?
50.9, yeah.
Right.
So you really need an 8 foot variance at that corner. And if you're going back 2 feet over the length of it, or if it's even more, you may not have to do anything. Find out what that is, and you may not have to change your plans at all. If that goes back 3 feet,
Then I'm
you
gold.
can have your 4 risers and you're golden. You don't have to change anything.
But is that because 8 foot is a magic number for us?
Well, that's all we know right now. That's the only number I know. Going by your corner, you're 50.9 feet away. I know you want to come out with an 8.5 foot porch, right? Because you have your footings for
Right.
at 8 feet center.
Right.
So I'm guessing 8.5 feet.
It's
total.
actually, the footings are real close to it's like a 3-4 inch over.
Oh, but that's not the way you drew it, so I'm just going guesstimate.
Okay.
So find out exactly, if your deck's going to be 8 feet, then what you really need is a 7.5 foot variance. And the smaller the variance, the
Right.
easier it is for us.
Much
So that's what you want to do.
But you need to go from the stairs, so.
Oh, but
Right.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So that's the only measurement I know, is the thickness or the width of your deck at that corner. So make it easy. Let's say your deck is exactly 8 feet. So then I know that you need a 7.5 foot variance for that distance. Now you're at an angle. If at that angle, you're getting far enough away from the road that you've gone back 3 feet, that's all you need.
I don't have to change the plan then.
You don't have to change any
Yeah.
plans.
Right.
If you're going back over that length, back 2 feet, then maybe if you can raise
Riser.
your elevation there on your ground a foot and get away with run riser, you're golden. So
Okay.
you gotta look at that. We need to know the measurement in the middle, given the width of the deck, or rather your steps, the corner of the steps that's gonna be closest to your lot line. We need to know that measurement.
Okay.
and my suggestion would be to call up the surveyor, because he is still in town in Poughkeepsie, and he may have all the records, just an updated, and again, explain to him what you're trying to do. He can even make up a ZB variance on the new map itself, so you will know, everybody will know exactly what your boundaries are.
Yeah, you can do a survey with proposed deck and steps on it. And
Correct.
give us that measurement, and then we absolutely know what we're dealing with.
Okay.
All
So,
right.
And tell them that we're trying to...
so you want to make every effort to get the smallest number that we can
Yes.
get.
And keep your wife happy.
Good.
All right?
So we got this on
So
for
we're gonna,
review.
yeah, we're gonna keep this on for review next month, and then
Okay.
we'll know exactly what we're asking.
And I'll bring back that information and,
I don't know that you're gonna get the survey update in days,
Right.
okay?
Oh,
To
and-
get this advertised in time, we don't have a whole lot of time, so,
So,
all right?
That's why we're gonna
so
put it on for review. So
We'll
get
see
it
one
as
more
soon as
time
you
for
can.
review, and then hopefully in February, we'll do the public hearing.
okay, and at that
Okay.
review, if I have that information, obviously I'll bring it, but if I don't,
For January?
well,
Then we're gonna put you over for another review.
Yeah, we'll put you over.
It'll go another
We'll see you
month.
in
Then you have
February
it-
for review. All right, so
Yeah, and then you'll
Which
be
if
looking at
she
March
wants this
for
in the
hearing,
spring,
so I don't
yes.
know.
Yeah, if I
When you
don't
wanna
start
get
digging in the
started.
spring, my wife's gonna be holding the shovel over my head.
The longer it takes, the longer we...
We're a step ahead of you. We anticipated that.
All right, thank you very
We
much.
got time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There is no item 17, so item number 18, Appeal 3771 Henshaw, Bob Henshaw, 72 Katie's Way, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a variance to allow an accessory structure, ground-mounted solar panels, to be located in front of the rear line of his dwelling pursuant to Section 194-17 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Bob Hamill. I'm with Energy Concierge, and Bob and I are proposing to put a ground-mounted system on his property on the side of his garage. And we took some photos of the garage itself. As you can see, that the property drops about 10 feet below grade from the road. He's 200 feet from the rear property line and about 200 feet from the side property line. The system would be in front of the rear of the garage, though, but it would be about 10 feet behind the front line.
But very visible from the road.
It's actually the town consultant that we met with there said if we put some shrubs here, that you would not see the system that much at all.
Okay.
Because of the way you're making this turn, nobody's seeing it, so the only time anyone would potentially see it is if they were coming from this direction. The little shrubs would block that.
Okay.
A 10-foot high shrub would almost create a screen to the property.
Okay. Because you've been in before, having this a little bit further over.
We were originally looking to have the stormwater easement moved.
Right.
So that we can go further down the hill.
Right.
Because there's a retention pond down in this area that's 50 foot down, so we're trying to work our way down the hill, but the problem is the stormwater easement almost surrounds his house.
So how big is the structure itself?
10-foot height,
10-foot height, but
20 feet wide each array.
How many arrays?
by 20 feet by foot.
There's 3 arrays, 2 in the front and 1 in the back. On the drawing,
It doesn't look square, so it's 20 feet by,
15 feet wide, so it's a 16-foot square, but it's sitting at a 15-degree angle. So you don't see it as 16 by 16. You
Oh,
only see the
okay.
angle.
okay.
Okay,
And it's 10-foot height off the
so 16 by 16, 10 feet up. Okay.
Is-
I understand your diagram now.
Is it going to have a glare to it? I mean, for somebody coming around that corner, are they going to
No, not at a
be hit with a
15-degree.
glare?
No, it would have to be at a 45-degree angle to even potentially cause a glare.
And these are,
I don't know what angle it's at. I don't think
Oh,
you said that,
it's
so-
at 15 degrees.
Okay.
So it's almost looks like you're looking at a flat line.
yeah, it's all on that little diagram in the corner. And these are stationary then, they're not moving or tracking the sun.
They're not trackers, no.
Yeah,
And then there's
And
panels on the
each-
roof of the garage?
There's also going to be panels on the roof as well.
And I guess, I mean...
But you won't see those because they're facing to the west.
If you could put one further back, why can't you put the other 2 further back?
Because then you can only put 2 there. They have to be at least 30 feet apart, so
Well,
that the
two-
front one doesn't shade the rear one.
Well, you can move definitely one up next to it, right?
It drops. There's a steep slope there. So the one in
We
the
need a
back,
survey with elevations on it. I mean, when you say it drops there, I mean, it doesn't, you're not conveying enough information with your responses. It drops there in what direction? What's going on?
this was submitted, showing the elevation drop.
This is dropping down this way?
The system would be right here.
Yeah, but this is going down
So
because,
this is dropped, the rear line is
Are these
10 feet
2-foot
below.
contours?
Correct.
so why can't this one here go up next to that one? That's what I'm saying.
Because the property drops back there. This is the original
So in
elevation.
here is a
Again,
bigger,
so you have one here.
Jim, here is a better copy of the same thing.
Okay, that's still, I just want my question answered. You have one here. These two are close together like this. Why can't that one be closer together with that one up
The
there?
garage will also shade back there. That's why we have this one down there.
Okay. So
So
this
you want-
one's further enough away from the garage when the sun's
Right,
going
right,
down over here.
right.
That's the answer, okay.
So all of
If
these are
this is 16
standalone structures, each one of the three?
Each one
Is there any
It's one
other,
pole that supports the...
Each one of those is one of these
is there
things.
any other structures with this?
No.
It's not a shrub.
It's basically 3 poles in the ground, 7 feet deep, and then panels on the garage itself. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, we looked at putting one back here, but the shading from the garage would affect it substantially, and you wouldn't get the production you're looking for.
So we got,
All right, we're going to ask you to go back to the microphone, because again, your voice was not going to get caught. Can I ask a question?
true south.
The shrubs that you said you're going to put in, you're going to put in, there's 7 circles that you've drawn, and it says shrubs to be installed. The circles are almost as wide as your panels. I don't know of any 16-foot shrub.
That was just for,
Well, you
No.
got to explain what kind of shrubs you're talking about.
Well,
A shrub to me is, maybe 3 feet off the ground. That's not going to provide any kind of screening.
no,
You're
we
talking-
were actually looking for a recommendation from the consultant. She said she would give us a recommendation on the type of shrub.
What consultant?
The town had a consultant that went out and looked at the property, and
Oh, the planner, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
and she said we can make a recommendation on shrubs, or she'd make a recommendation, but she didn't think anything greater than 10 feet was necessary.
In
Because when you're
height?
because when you're standing at the edge of the road with a 10-foot shrub, it actually looked over the second, almost up to the second story of the garage.
Okay. So the circles are just illustrative, and they're not
Correct.
actually what you're expecting to put there? Okay. And so the town planner is going to potentially be the one, I think if we get to a public hearing, we need to understand what you're talking about.
Sure, we
Your
can...
neighbors are going to want to know what the screening
We
is.
can come up with a specific shrub that we would put there,
And it's going to be
and I'll consult.
green year-round.
Right, something that would stay there year-round.
Okay.
Michelle Robbins.
We've looked at every option possible. The house doesn't support solar because of all the various roof pitches. And the stormwater easement kind of eliminated that whole area, since 3 acres of his 4-acre property is basically unusable.
I mean, I guess it's better that it's closer to your house, and you're the one that sees it more than other people. So it's better than what we were seeing before, but I still have a concern, but
What's,
I'm going to have to drive up here and see what I would see. That's what I'm concerned about.
what about the opposite corner, which is much higher, right? And behind the septic drainage system? In other words, here.
You'd have to cut all the trees that are down in that area, and you would...
I know, but your septic is here, why not here? I'm looking at this one, showing me septic drainage system here, right?
Right.
Why not there?
This drops off right here.
But this is 394 feet, 300,
You're talking about this area here?
94. No,
Yeah, this is all septic. But
that's,
What's the ax for the septic tank?
everything outside of the
This is the
gray area
septic
is
drain.
What's the
considered,
fields? What's the tank?
stormwater easement.
what is, a tank that big?
No, the tank.
That can't be a tank that big. A tank is like 10
Expansion
by
area.
10. Expansion
Yeah, it's an
area.
expansion area.
Well,
That's what it would be.
still, go along there. That's
The
higher,
house-
it's much higher.
The house would
It's
shade.
much higher than there.
The entire
the
house
house-
would shade the area.
And, I mean, it looks like that house is closer on the side. If I don't know how.
Yeah, this is kind of like, there's a shed there.
But where's your neighbor?
Right where your
Right
finger
here.
is.
So I'm not gonna
And you would have
that
to
one.
cut down all the trees that are in this area, which would remove the entire buffer between the houses.
When you drive like this way up the road, you can't see over here.
And this is part of the problem I'm having with this thing, and it's not telling me what the elevations are. And that's what I was saying before. I don't know what this elevation is. Yeah, what is
Well,
that?
It's 300 and, the difference between the garage or the road and this area is.
It's 2 feet for
12
each
feet.
one, so 396 feet. 398, 400, 402, 404, 406. So the house is at 406, and that's 396 feet height, so you're talking about a difference of 4 feet. And how far are you away? The sun comes up, you're immediately behind the house. That's when the sun's the highest, not when it's coming at the two angles for the rising and setting of the sun.
This is all woods.
Do you
here.
have any studies done that indicate that that's not going to get the sun anywhere behind that?
This is all woods here. And then the other problem would be getting the electric to the house from way back there.
You'd make it cost prohibitive.
What, I don't know how that's necessarily it.
You'd have to cut all these trees that buffer the house right here. And you're also, so you basically.
If you're here, you have to cut all those trees down. You're saying this blocks it, but your house is 30 feet taller already than this location,
But you're facing this.
right? Your house is how tall? You got a 2-story house plus the gable. So is it 30 feet taller? You got some basement? You got 9 feet per story, that's 18. So 20, another 6 feet for your gable, 26 feet above? How far away are you? I mean, I don't get it. And I'm not sure why you're telling me you
There'd be a lot
can't,
of
because this is much
excavation.
higher. This is 380 feet as opposed to down here. Are you that tall?
That's the easement area.
Right, so now you're butting up to the other property.
No, it's not in an easement area.
Yeah, what are,
It'll be right here.
Footing drain elevation. Your easement area starts here.
It goes around the whole back now.
I understand that.
So what is the?
Property line.
What are you trying to avoid with something that's already 12 feet below the road with a buffer so you can't see it?
Whether the code is supposed to have structures in front of the rear line of the house. That's, the
Put it
statute
behind the
says
house
no.
if we
So
can.
we have to explore other options. That's our obligation. You have to justify why you're gonna be in front of the house. So when I ask these questions, I'm just looking for you to justify it. Why can't it go there? You're talking, every answer that time I ask you a question, you say the property drops off. So then I look at a location that is actually much higher.
But you have to cut all of these trees down.
Can I see your aerial? We don't have an aerial.
I mean, I can't see trees.
What you're suggesting.
Or even just slightly further back.
He's saying here, or he's saying over here?
Well, this line.
I'm saying there's a number of
right
places.
here? This is south.
Right
That's
there.
what I thought. Jim was pointing to this side.
Yeah, make it in the
There's-
corner,
the
put it
trees are
behind,
over
so,
there.
yeah.
There's all trees over here too. You're just not seeing them.
Well,
I mean, I see those pictures up there. I mean, your second picture shows, your second photograph shows the layout.
But they're not significant trees.
You're
They're
looking at
not.
all the trees that would have to be cut, all those pines, everything back there, and then you gotta
Well,
run.
even if it
And
went
trench all the
just
way from
slightly
back there.
further back, it looks like there's 2 trees right here. I see a little,
Well, the easement wraps around too, in the back.
well, this is the easement right here.
The easement, is- you can see is up here, right here is the easement.
This is the retention pond.
Yeah, the easement goes, wraps around, I mean, it goes, takes the whole backyard.
It has a stormwater easement, and then it goes to a line.
So the stormwater easement wraps here.
See, that's easy. You take your finger, you hold it 3 inches above my thing, and then you say it goes like that. That doesn't mean anything to me. I mean,
The gray area.
the gray area is the easement.
Even if you moved it back 20 feet.
So, that whole gray area, so go on the other side of the easement. That's still your property.
Where?
Here?
There's a pool
What is
there.
this? What is this?
There's a pool here.
What is
No,
this?
there's a pool in the white area, immediately behind the house. That's for your pools, your pool and patio.
Oh, this here?
So, again, I'm not getting why you can't go here.
What is that dark bar on this survey?
Yeah, this bar. What are these?
Is there a retaining wall or something?
Yes, no?
It's an old stone wall.
Is that
This
pipe
was
going
pulled
into
from
the
here.
stormwater?
Excuse me?
Is that a pipe going into the
Well,
I don't think so.
They have an easement in the back, I think, so if they ever want to tie this one into the one by the road, they can go back there.
Well, I'm
Oh,
just
it looks
asking
like a
what this...
swell.
There's nothing there.
Yeah, it could be bringing the
See,
water
what
to
you're-
the
What you're
drainage
saying over
easement.
here is this drops right here. Right from here down, it's dropping 10 feet. So now you're increasing the amount of shade you're going to get.
Jim Tara is suggesting that this could be a pipe that brings the water to the drainage easement.
They're not connected. I don't know what
Yeah,
that
it's
is.
not connected, I
Under-
agree with
Yeah, but you see
Maybe
there's an arrow here.
underneath.
An arrow.
But it's
That
parallel
says
to the
it's coming this
drainage
way,
easement.
into
It's
the
not...
drainage easement.
Exactly,
What-
that's what I'm,
Right.
Is it
Oh, it's
going?
down, it looks
This is
like
what
maybe
I'm
it's a
not
swell
getting.
or something.
And it can't be.
Where is it, is it taking?
Stormwater easement starts after the gray area. The gray area's got to be okay, because your septic drainage system is in the gray area. I'm not understanding this map.
Yeah. How far
That-
do you have to be away from the stormwater easement?
I don't know that
You
there's
can't
any
be in
buffer.
it.
You just can't be in it.
So you go right up to it.
Yeah.
There's no buffer, just can't be,
Yeah, there's no
Or-
buffers,
well,
you
no.
can't be in the easement.
no, you can't disturb it, obviously.
The pool looks like it butts up right up to the stormwater easement.
But you're telling me that gray is a stormwater easement?
No, the gray is
The
the,
gray
is where he told
stormwater
us we could
easement.
put it.
So if the pool comes all the way back.
The
to
gray is where you were told you could put
Right
the,
here.
is a setback.
He said these
buildable
are, this
area.
is the only
Gray
spot
is-
where you could put it,
put what?
the solar system.
Okay, so you can put your solar system in there. And that's what I'm talking about. I mean,
But the
I don't know
pool-
why I'm
but the
getting my...
pool's there.
No, your pool's here, isn't it?
Where's the pool picture?
pool is right here.
They whited it out for you.
See, if you look, the pool goes back almost as far as the point of, you know?
No, I don't.
If you look at the size of your house, your pool's in that white area here. It says pool.
It has pool question mark.
But then it drops down after the pool.
Okay.
Drops down after the pool.
Well, there's a
So I-
playground.
But
There's
there's
actually
no
a playground.
pool
390,
structure next to it.
396, 398, 400, 402, 404, 404, 409.9. It stays the same.
If you only look at that one,
I'm
between
looking
those
at-
two bars. But if you
That's
go
2
to the
feet.
right of that bar, it drops 8 feet.
To the right of that bar.
Or in your case, to the left. So if you had one here and one here.
Well, if you
that's
had one here and
4,
one
6,
here.
8 feet drop.
And they're up on 10-foot poles. The guy was saying, you just explained to me that any place in this gray area, the guy said is usable.
Correct.
Well, the pool is here and there's a playground right behind it. and there's a fence around the pool.
Well, I mean, we're still having a problem there. You're not showing us, and you just told me this gray area, which my colleagues seem to be arguing that was the same stormwater easement, is not true. It goes out from there, because it can't be in there. So this gray area means the company's telling you you can put your stuff any place in that gray area.
Right, but I mean, we can't put it on the septic. I mean,
You can put it at the edge of the septic. You have, this is your septic, this is your expansion area.
There's only footings in the ground, you've told us.
And then you'd have to
So
cut
you can-
all the trees to the right of that.
Well, I don't know, because I don't know what the trees are. I
This is
now
all-
know
they're
that the
30-foot
company
trees
says
there.
you can use any place here.
There's 30-foot trees here.
You point to shadows and you say they're trees. And when we look at where there's no shadows, you say there's still trees there. How do I know that those are trees?
Maybe a site visit might be, maybe a site visit,
Trees.
yeah, maybe.
I mean, I see,
Wasn't that why the lady came out and looked at it?
I'm just asking
well,
questions. I'm not
we
getting
didn't get a
thrown enough
report from
answers.
Michelle, so she went out. It's, unfortunately, we didn't get any information, so we can inquire. And
If you paid for a planner to go out and visit, she must have put a road report together and we should have access to it.
Right, I think the town sent the planner out.
Correct, and she must have prepared a report which we should have gotten.
And she said her recommendation was shrubs up to the front and no problem.
Who is this?
Michelle, I think.
you think Michelle Robbins?
Consulting planner.
Oh, the consulting planner. But, I mean, is she looking at the code and what's required, or is she just looking at what can be
Well,
done?
because these aren't allowed in the side yard, so obviously.
It's a recommendation.
She's saying that it would work, no problem with the variance,
Yeah.
so.
Right, because it wouldn't be an obstruction to the public,
I
right?
need you back at the microphone, please. It wouldn't be an obstruction, what?
It wouldn't be an eyesore to the public.
And it's not like it's in, the house is 60 feet from the road, but the solar panels, 100 feet from the road. It's not like it's closer.
See all the trees that you couldn't see on that side where you said, I don't see shade? That's all of these trees. And then all of these trees, on this one, you can't see that side, you can't take photos of it. But all of these trees, or we would have suggested putting it back there.
Well, I'm just going by what you're saying the gray area means, is that they said you could put placement of the panels there. So they didn't take, in what you're telling me is
No,
the
that was just a
company-
surveyor due to the setbacks. He said these are the distances.
I thought you said the company said it was okay. Now you're telling me it's the surveyor?
Not the,
I'm talking about the gray area.
he measured, he said, because the stormwater easement was the issue. Because we wanted to put them down the hill so you'd never see them. So then he went and he said, this is where the distances you need to be away from everything. As far as the side yard and the back
Who is
yard.
he? Well, he's not gonna then,
Right?
why did he make, well, see, now you're giving me contradictory answers. So you're gonna, rather than jump in and just answer my question, if you think that something's gonna take care of the issue, you gotta be consistent, because 7-8 minutes ago, you told me the gray area is where the solar company
No, I said that's
identified-
where he said it could go.
And I said the solar company, and he said,
I didn't
yes.
hear you say that.
No, we did not say the solar.
I've said that.
He's the
over-
solar guy.
I've
I'm
said
the
that
solar
over and
company.
over again, that that's where the solar company said it. You guys keep agreeing with me.
I didn't
You
hear
got
you say
to
that, I'm
listen to
sorry.
what the questions are being asked and give me a good answer.
Okay.
You need to listen. So now you're saying that's not what that's been, so the surveyor identified that gray area? Why would he keep a big empty
Right.
U in the middle?
From the
What is the
pool?
purpose of the gray area? Why is that shaded?
I think because
Outside of the gray area is where the stormwater easement is.
Okay, so we,
So he said if you stayed in the gray area, you were staying within the boundaries of the stormwater
So that's the
easement.
buildable area, but not necessarily from the solar company's perspective.
Correct.
It's a buildable area if you consider the stormwater easement on the rest of the property.
Correct.
But
That doesn't
it
necessarily.
also has trees.
That doesn't mess, so you have stormwater easement in front of the house?
that goes to the sideline of the line of the front of the house, right?
Yeah.
So he's saying what area you can build on? Since the requirement is being behind the...
The setback requirements are outlined in the gray dash line, I believe.
That's correct.
Because your well then would be in a drainage easement.
Oh, it's right here. You don't, well, yeah.
This chalice here.
You're getting old.
Then you, whatever, what's that box that's in there? Is that an electrical box?
Stormwater.
No.
She's trying to get...
It's in the drainage area.
Oh, is it?
Just let her see what I'm looking at.
There's a lot
She's got the
of
same
existing stormwater.
Yeah. You can't see the dotted lines that the others can see.
So
She got the black and white.
This gray area doesn't define it. I mean, it wouldn't let them put it there anyways.
That must be after you changed the
What happened?
You got the new ink cartridge.
That's why.
And the paper.
Right, because you can't go in front of the front yard.
No. Sorry.
So I'm,
I think we need to review it more because we need a report. We need to know who these people are who gave you the different, what their title is, what entity they
yeah,
belong to. We need to know.
Town planner.
Yeah, it's very all over the
I'm
place.
sorry she didn't give you something in writing or she didn't communicate with us, so.
And maybe some pictures of your backyard, if there are.
I mean, these two pictures are very good, but I think as Barbara mentioned, we need a little bit more than that. See,
So what would you like to see?
Why don't you give us pictures of all the area around it so we can see all around it as opposed to just two shots, which is really showing the area you want. That's all you're depicting is the area you want. Show us pictures of the area that you say can't be used. And then we can see it.
Right, you have to justify, because when your neighbors come out for a public hearing, they're going to want to understand why does it have to be here as well.
My neighbors are very for it.
Okay, I mean, I think.
That will help.
We made the comment last time around, not every house is fit for solar, so it could just
Understood.
honestly be that, you're one of those houses. We're not saying that at this point, but we do have to be concerned about, you're just one person asking for this in your side yard. What happens when the next person comes in and we say yes, then how do we say no? All right, and then everybody starts having them in their side yard. That's what we gotta be concerned about. All right, so
And
we gotta tread
I'm just-
carefully.
And I don't know if you can answer this question. You have existing stormwater easement on your survey, on your elevation map. And then you have new drainage easement line.
Well, this is when they went to the town board to try to get the drainage easement adjusted.
And was it adjusted so
And
you
the
have
town
even more?
board didn't agree with the request.
Oh, okay. Thank you for answering that question. So I can just cross that off my list of consideration.
Yes. All right, I do have one question for you. You have a backhoe in your backyard?
Yeah, is that recreational?
It's recreational? It's, well, you can wait for our interpretation of what a recreational vehicle is if
Okay.
you'd like, but a backhoe is not allowed in your hydraulics, it's not allowed in your backyard. All right? So,
Recreational for what? Okay.
Take it to shows.
you take it to shows? A backhoe?
He tinkers
It's a
with it.
1975.
I'm
Can
sorry,
you
what?
get it in your
I said
garage?
he tinkers with it.
All right, you get an extra point for that one.
I was just thinking that there was this
I
thing
was
on
listening.
YouTube or something, recreational, where they were swinging the excavator around with people hanging on it. Recreational.
One of the things
You
you
take the
also,
kids for rides in the bucket, don't you?
one of the things you also have to consider is that in order to put the system back here, now you're running electrical lines all the way over there. And you're just going to make the system
You
cost
haven't explained it
prohibitive.
to us, so.
But
it-
that's
it
one
is-
thing I got confused on when I was looking at this, when you're saying the lines. When you have your plan, maybe I'm not,
And they're underground, aren't they?
well, yeah, you have it way over on the left, and it sort of confused me that maybe it doesn't make a difference. Over on the right is where you have your photovoltaic system AC disconnect.
Well, that's the utility meters over there. That's the utility
That's because it's running through the garage, underground through a conduit, into the house, and over to the panel box.
Okay, but see, that's where I'm confused. You're saying that's longer, it's cost prohibitive, but you're already going from the furthest, almost furthest point away from that side, would you say is going underground? Maybe I'm not understanding your answer.
Having to bypass the entire leach field?
Well, again, I haven't said that. I've said put it
No,
over
I'm saying,
here.
you're saying it's shorter that way, and I'm saying, well, we still have to go all the way around the leach field to get there.
If it's here, you're not doing that.
But see, Jim,
even if
these are buried AC lines, he's talking about AC lines.
Even if you're here, look, I'm not looking for an argument from you.
Okay.
I'm really not.
Okay.
I mean, I want answers from the applicant. If it's here, and you go alongside your leach field, it's even closer. So, you're gonna have to show maybe your tree lines and the number of trees and that kind of stuff. That may be your answer. I'm not disagreeing with you, but please look at my questions, and none of the points that I've pointed at have suggested mean going all the way around the leach field. If you go alongside it, I think you're closer to there. If this is your leach field, you are no farther away from this point
Right, than being on the
than
other
over
side.
on that side.
Except now you're running dual lines because you're running from the garage to the panel box, and then that area you're proposing to the panel box.
Oh, so you're saying because
You're
you're already
doubling
putting
it.
panels on the garage, you're already running a line from
Right.
there.
So
And
if
so
you're,
you would use that line.
if the garage works, why can't you just use the garage? Why do you also need the
Because
panels?
even with the size of the system that's being put in, it still only meets about 80% of its electric. If it was only the garage, it would be less than 20%.
Now, the slope of the garage roof, what's it, so it's, is it actually sloping to this side? What is the slope of the garage roof?
It slopes to the west.
So you're not getting a full day of sun there?
No.
You're getting enough
No,
sun?
the arrays are offsetting.
You can see
the
the other
garage.
side of the garage on the pictures. It's got a dormer on it, or whatever you want to call that, over the doors.
This is facing southwest,
So
and it
it's just
doesn't
on that far
produce
side.
as well as poles that face true
Well, I'm looking
south.
at the picture, which I can't really see very clearly in my old age. So that's the garage side on that. So, see, I'm looking at the,
And so that garage side with the doors, above the doors, does not have any panels on it. It's the other sides that slopes down that where the panels
on the
are.
left.
maybe I can, no, I don't, that
No,
doesn't
no,
help
that's
me.
not it.
I
Look
want
at
the
the picture.
pictures.
You want to see where it is, right?
No, I want to see,
Pictures.
I want to
We
understand
need
the
to see the
slope of the
pictures.
roof. It's getting too long. I got to glare at my angle. Okay. So that garage angle has changed. Now, it's on the, which part? The part I can't see?
The back
So
side.
They're already there? That's where they are?
This is where they would be, they're not there now.
Okay.
So having the two poles here and the one back here, all the electrics here runs through there and into the panel box. If you were to put arrays back here, now you're running two sets of wires.
Yeah, but why can't it be behind that garage?
All these trees that come down.
They're all
Which is what you
within
don't
how
see
many
on that.
feet of the house? They start immediately behind the house, or is there a clear area of yard
Even
first?
with putting the poles here, these trees are coming out right here.
But that's what we need pictures of,
Oh,
those
yeah,
trees and
'cause-
stuff. We need to see that.
Because if
Then
you're
we-
telling us there's vegetation there, but now it's coming out, then
Yeah, but nowhere near as much, we're talking about 3 trees versus.
And the next question I'm going to have is, can you extend the array off one end of the garage and still have the same effect without putting those other things up? So you just make a structure that matches the slope of your garage roof, and you extend it out to get this amount of stuff. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
Right now, you're gonna cover
Extend
one
the
slope
roof,
of the
right.
garage completely. What happens is you went out another 15 feet off the back, and that was all connected with just a lean-to with those arrays on it. Would that work?
So like you'll have 3 panels all straight in one,
The alternate way of doing it besides that would be to a carport, which would increase the cost of the system.
No, I'm not, well, again, I'm not looking. It's gonna cost you to put in 3 foundations strong enough to hold up these 16 by 16 arrays. That's gonna cost money. And the question is, again, very simple. And you don't have to answer it now, because I'm gonna ask it again later on, then you can take the time to think about it. Why not just extend the array that's on the garage by putting up some sort of lean-to structure or something like that? I'm
That's
thinking
at
of
least 10 feet
Poughkeepsie,
off the
that's what they
ground.
did. They put up this big lean-to structure, and everybody loves it at this place because they all park under it in the summer and get out of the sun. Why can't you extend that? It could be just grass underneath it, whatever, but can you do something like that? If that location's good enough on the back of the garage, do your calculations, whatever, it's not as efficient, can you do it? It's gonna take too much solar panels? Maybe I'm giving your answers, I don't know. But why can't you just extend it off the one side of the garage?
And then we screen that, and that, we're done.
Well, you would have a harder time screening that than screening the poles.
I'm not even saying, if you go off the back
Why?
side of the
Because
garage, you
it's
won't even see it, you won't even
We
have to
wouldn't need
screen
a
it.
variance.
What?
They wouldn't need a variance.
You wouldn't need variance?
Well, it's still in the side yard.
It is-
No, well,
It's still in front of the rear line of the house.
no, go
No,
off
but
the
no,
other
it's part of the
side.
structure. It's part of the structure, so it wouldn't. It's not a standalone structure. So I agree, you wouldn't need a variance.
okay, basically what you're saying is if you extend, wherever your panels are right now, just continue the panels towards the ground.
Yeah, you're just talking about building out.
And you can do something architecturally to make it more interesting, but consider that. I mean, I'm gonna be asking that, figure out why that can't be done. That's our, you come in for a variance, we gotta explore why it can't be done in a different way.
It's a 3-bay garage, so you've got some significant length and width there. It's going to be more than 10 feet off the ground, right? The garage doors are 7 or 8 foot height there, right?
9.
9 feet? Thank you, even better. So you probably have 12 feet off the ground.
At the top, yeah.
I'm trying to visualize that looking good.
You can screen it.
Well, again, I'm not sure you have to if you go
But
off.
it's not like a good angle. That's the whole point. You want to face.
If the angle works because the panels are on your garage, why wouldn't
We
the
only-
angle work to
It
continue?
works on the garage because the 3 pole mounted systems are facing true south. So the average production meets our requirements. If you just did the west facing roof, you're not going to get the production.
All right, that's part of the answer.
Which is why Solar City is being investigated by NYSERDA for all the systems that are put up that are not producing.
But that's what I was saying. You need answers for that. Why isn't it? And you can't just say it's not gonna work.
No, we're trying to be cost effective for
I know,
Bob.
but you can't just say that. Why? Well,
I don't
because
know.
there's a reason why.
Because you're asking
There's
for
a
a
reason
hardship.
why.
Or for a
I want a
variance.
technical answer. It's facing the wrong direction. The solar gain on that side was only producing X much for however you measure it. And whereas we put these other homes, we get this from this location.
Okay, so
You
if
can't
you're
just
asking
give-
me, if you're
you
asking
can't
me
just
that
give me a
question, I can give
conclusion.
you that answer.
No.
I can give you that answer.
No, when I
The
ask you
structure
why
on the
not,
roof-
and this is what I asked the question, why not just extend it? You can't just say it's not cost effective. That's a conclusion that you made. That's not giving me the information that I would like to decide whether or not it really is cost effective.
Well, first of all, I didn't say it wouldn't be cost effective. I said I can't visualize that looking good.
Well, one of the things, the terms you used
From the
was
production.
cost effective.
That cost effective related to putting it behind the house in the woods where you suggested behind the leach field. That wouldn't be cost effective for all the excavation work that would be required. And we're trying to do this at a price point that makes logical sense for the owner.
And I think you also mentioned cost-effective in terms of the fact that the freestanding ones are facing true south, so you get the production you need and a size that's cost-effective for your customer. That's the information I need.
The poles produce 93% solar irradiance. The garage is 76.
Okay.
If you ask me those questions, I give you those answers.
But see, I don't know to ask
Yes,
those questions.
thank you.
I'm asking you why it can't be done. To give me a phrase that it can't be done because it's not cost-effective or because the angle's wrong doesn't answer it. The fact that you get 73% in one location and 94% in another location gives me information that I can now ask another question. Well, if only at 74%, how much bigger does the array have to be on the garage? What kind of appearance then is that going to make on the garage? That gives me facts that I can justify a decision one way or another. That's what I'm asking you to do.
If we were only allowed
And when
to-
I started my question, I said, I don't need an answer now, because you may need to think of why it can't be done, because that's the kind of information I want. And I preface my question with the fact that it may not be as efficient to put it on the garage, so it sort of indicated the kind of information I was looking for.
If the system was only put on the garage, it wouldn't be cost-effective because it wouldn't produce, and we probably wouldn't do the project.
So I need information as to why you say it's not going to produce because of the angles, what kind of efficiency it's going to get, and how big the array is going to be, and whether that makes it unsightly as well. That gives me real information.
Sure, I'll send you the solar irradiance reports for each array, and you'll see why it's not, doesn't
Okay,
make sense to do that.
That's fine. That's the kind of information I think we need, and that kind of information as to each location that we may point out to you. So that's the information that we need.
So
Okay.
we need a better sense of vegetation behind the house and behind the garage. Again, why isn't that a suitable location? How many trees are you talking about would have to be cut down to use that location? And then if you could, provide the energy details about why that site does or does not work from an energy perspective, okay? Jim, do you want to see the other side of the leach fields or no?
Yeah, I would like to see the photographs.
Well, at least like the pictures to see, I mean, look at it here a little bit closer, you can see there's more trees. It doesn't look that as much because all the leaves are gone, but we need this, some pictures showing, which as I said earlier, the locations you say are no good because of. Show us the pictures, show us that there's trees there, show that you're taking down 50 trees and that's not good for the neighborhood.
I did state before, this is the first time we're being asked for solar panels in a side yard, although we do have another request. We need to be really careful why we say yes to this one and why we might say no to another one. Or if we say yes, are we setting a precedent? And if so, we've got to make sure we're doing what is right for this town. Okay?
Thank you.
We'll see you again next month.
Okay, and also try to get the names of the people who made all the recommendations, so at least we know their name and their agency that they're part of. Thank you.
And then Pam, if you can find out
And if you
whatever
can-
we can from Michelle.
Or any of the reports that
And
you
the
were able to
backhoes.
get, to easement, whatever it is. Thank you.
The recreational. All right. Item number 19, Appeal 3772, Rom, right, Todd, Michael, I mean. Madeline and Steve Rom, 4 Dillon Court, Hopewell Junction, are requesting a 7-foot sideline variance for a proposed in-ground pool pursuant to Section 194-95 of the zoning ordinance. Do you know what size the pool is? Sorry, the first time, I don't even have this application. Hold on, it's inside of the survey, that's where it is.
Okay.
That's where it is. So now she's just playing tricks on me, too.
Keep you on your toes.
I'm not seeing the size of a pool. Anyway. Oh, I got the big survey, sorry. This time I share with you guys. So, can you,
What do you want for size? 900 square feet? The length and the width? It's a free-form pool.
it's a what?
It's a free-form pool.
18 by 29 by 35.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on here. so the first question we have to ask is, can the pool be shrunk to a smaller size to fit within the setback? What is that?
Can I go on record that I think James is anti-polar bear? No?
What was that in Mr. Comden?
After the meeting. All right.
Strike that from the record, please.
Strike, yeah, really, let's keep going here. So there's no question this is a really strange shaped lot, okay? And so the buildable area behind the house, unless you go way out to the back there, is just very limited. I get that, okay? It gives, and for the record, you're coming in before,
Obviously.
okay? So, but the question is, can we reduce the size of the pool? That's the first question.
We can do anything. But
Okay.
this is the pool they want to put in. This is a ridiculous lot. I don't know why engineering ever passed this lot for this subdivision.
I agree, but planning board did.
You could put a lake in the back.
No, because there's
Just joking.
there's wetlands back there. So you've got a property on the left-hand side, which is going to be affected by the pool. So there's no one there. It's owned by Page Lumber. It's actually owned by the bank.
Right.
So someone has to buy that property, say, okay, there's the pool. Do I want to buy this property or not buy the property?
How about the neighbor on the other side?
What does that have to do with going to the left-hand side? With the back of the house?
Yeah, but there's still a neighbor who owns the property on the other side. It's the thin part of the lot there. It comes to like in the
Right, but
middle of an hourglass.
I'm not asking for a setback on that side.
Understood. I'm just asking, what's on the other side? I don't have an aerial, so all I have is the survey that you gave us.
Is there a house close by
Where's
to
the
that
closest
property
house
line or
on the other
anything?
side?
That's what we're looking for.
I don't know that answer, but I don't know how it's relevant. And I'm not trying to be combative. I'm just trying to say, you have a good 40 feet there before the pool goes on.
It's 49 point some, it's like
Yeah.
49 feet over.
Okay. It's up on a hill, it's behind, there's
It's
trees.
not significant, all right? 50 feet is to the front of somebody's house, so that's 50 feet is not
But the code is
significant.
25 feet.
Understood. Again, we're just asking some questions to
I'm not,
understand your
I'm just, I can answer the question if I know what you want to know.
But can't you just turn this pool a little bit, this free form?
You're right. You can certainly, you can't turn it enough that I'm afraid to go towards the septic tanks, which are shown on there. Because the hillside that drops down, yes, the topography as, by the last person.
Those little rectangles are septic tanks?
Yeah.
But if you
But if you
turned it
just
into
turn
a
it in the same
patio-
location, you just turn it.
But it gets awful close. If you turn it, it gets awful close to that deck, that second-story deck, which I hate.
Second-story deck.
Oh, is that what
I
that
see,
is?
okay.
Which is much more of a issue.
So can the deck be reduced?
So how much of a variance
Deck is
you're
there.
asking for?
Understood. Can it be reduced? We're not,
No.
And
how big is the deck?
I don't know that. The house comes out as an H almost in the back, a half of an H, and the deck just goes from side to side, up top there.
so if they have the deck, do they need that big of a patio? I know they want it. but-
It's not a matter, you put a pool underneath a deck, you're asking,
No, you can't put it under that. We're
Yeah,
not
you
suggesting
can't.
that. But
That's not what we're,
the white is the pool.
If it was just turned,
Yeah, I think you just turn it 5 degrees and you're out of the need for a variance. So you bring the other, what kind of shape do you want to call this amoeba shape thing? You
it's
bring
called a
the-
lagoon.
What?
It's called a lagoon.
A lagoon. So, but you have, there's 2 bulbs or whatever. If it turns, so there's other ones touching the 25 feet, does the other one come out, even if you take a foot off of it or something, come out of the need of the 25-foot setback? 'Cause that's what it looks like to us. At least to me, I shouldn't say us. That can happen. What?
it looks, yeah.
Do you need a
That's
little
what I think,
dog bone shape encroaching the envelope? Can you just make it straight up there and not have to worry about it. So it'll still be a lagoon with the characteristics that you're looking for, but still won't be looking for a variance. It'll basically end at 25 feet instead of going to 18.4 feet.
What I'm going to argue in this situation is there's a hillside, there's the septic tanks up top, the 2 squares that you see, and I'll show you the topography if you'd like. The 2 septic tanks, and it drops down a hillside. You turn that pool and you're tucking it into the hillside. The further you cut away from that hillside, the further you get closer to exposing the actual septic tanks.
Okay, so what I'm saying is
We could put a bathtub in there and it would fit. It's not a swimming pool then they're not going to build it.
But see, the problem is, I don't see your explanation as being true, because I'm not asking you to get closer to the hillside. I'm asking you to just rotate it on its axis. How does that get it closer?
The back end will
If you
actually
take the
closer
center
to
of
the
that
property.
pool and you rotate it on its axis, the one part gets closer to the 25-foot setback.
But there's more of the, it's actually in the curve there if it gets more of a distance to the tanks.
No, it doesn't.
Well, yeah, if
You
you're
rotate on
trying
its
to-
axis.
Just
turn this, if you turn this pool like you're
Then
saying,
this
to get this
little
out of the
lip here,
setback,
and you're saying turn it.
you're gonna put this
Yeah,
right
this
underneath
way?
this deck.
Yeah, we
Why?
bring this in.
I'm
and then
rotating.
this one.
Yes, you're
Yeah, this one.
rotating this.
So instead of
underneath the deck.
here,
Closer to there.
it's over there.
That-
But right now, you're,
This
Take a
comes
point
over
right
there.
here and spin this. and you're gonna
maybe
put
this
it-
isn't big enough.
Correct.
Right.
So this
I mean,
little
I didn't
here.
want 1 inch to 1
But
month.
this is your
Yeah, it
deck
goes that
right
way
here,
too.
right?
It will.
So it's actually
it will
moving
go
away.
more like-
How's it moving away?
Because
Well,
this is,
it
right
won't
here,
go.
this is the closest
Like
2
this.
points. Right
This-
here to
this
here.
thing is gonna
If
be
this
up here.
moves over to here,
And then this guy
this
comes here.
But then you're either
indent.
moving it
No,
up or
no,
tilting
just- no, no,
it.
just
No, I'm
rotating.
not, I'm just rotating
Either
it.
way,
Yeah, rotating it.
I'm
if
just
you rotate
rotating.
it, this bump is gonna go right towards that deck.
No.
No.
Yes.
This bump is moving parallel to it
Barbara.
and maybe away.
It'll go a little closer, but it could,
Why?
It'll
If you
be-
can see it, it goes right underneath it.
because this will.
We're only talking about moving it
No, no.
5 degrees or 8 degrees. We're not talking about a major
I
rotation.
know,
If
we
you
did-
get-
We did it on the CAD.
I'd like to see drawings then, because I think Jim is right. I mean, if you
If
rotate
you're
it,
like this,
it's like a
and
kidney
this is
shape.
going across like
Yeah,
that,
here's my drawings.
and you rotate it, you don't even have to get this closer. You rotate it, this is just gonna move at an angle.
You can see right now, it moves. It's gotta move this way. This is the pivot point, right here.
No,
If-
no,
yeah, yes, it
no,
is.
no, it's not. You're
Yes,
how
it is.
far?
There's the setback line.
No, the setback line
There's-
is
put your
here.
pen
You
right
got
there.
3 feet away from it.
Right, put your pen right
So
there.
bring it in closer. Bring that one in closer. And when
I'll
you
show how
rotate
close
it,
is to the deck. I'll move it in, I'll pivot it, and I'll show you how close it is to the deck.
Okay.
and I want, so this point is now touching the 25-foot setback. True. I don't want you to rotate it, so this one comes out and that one stays as far away. Because that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting a rotation that's actually a rotation and brings this one closer to the setback
brings it more
while
closer.
bringing that one further away, which means this one really moves
Do you see this?
parallel.
This, how close this is to this point?
Probably, this is about as far away as this comes in.
We've done it.
I mean, it's a very small picture, so it's hard to show. And
I
that
think
may
we'll
be
have
part
it.
of the problem with conceiving it, so, but you're definitely, maybe end up with a 1 or 2 foot variance? And then we can justify it based on the crazy character of this crazy lot?
Yeah, but I don't understand what the difference between a 5-foot variance or a 7-foot variance to an empty lot is to a 1-foot variance.
Because we,
Because
it's a matter of policy unless it has to be really justified. And if there's
But I have a
way to
question. I have a
reduce-
question. If we're gonna grant a variance to a pool that I built 15 years ago, which we did last month, but not to one I built this year, or to one in the future, I'm not quite sure what happens here.
it matters whether the property owner themselves built it. Okay, in the case of last month, the property owner who now owns the house wasn't the one responsible for where it went. So we
I
can't
don't quite
hold
understand
him
that, but okay.
accountable for the
Okay,
decision
that's
about
fine.
where it got placed.
As I said, I'm just curious
That's the
what you guys
justification.
want.
Bottom line is, a pool is recreation. It's not a health and safety issue, it's not hiding storage that you have necessary to
It
maintain your
is,
house.
you're right, it is
So-
recreation, but it is also, it's employment and it's commerce. And those things are very important to me.
But see, the difference is, and I'm going to answer your question quite directly. I'm suggesting something. You say you don't want to be combative, but you are.
I'm
I'm
asking you a question, Jim.
I am asking you a question.
Okay.
Whether this thing, which shows me that you can lessen your request for a variance, which is staring me in the face, looking at this map, whether that is a suggestion that can be done to reduce your need for a variance.
And what I came
And
back,
I'm not getting a
and what I
yes or
came
no
back
answer.
with is a question of what difference does it make? And that is not a
Difference
combative
is,
answer.
it reduces the variance. And
Which
I've
means
given
what?
you that.
Which means what?
That you're making less of a request.
No,
it's
and I
easier to
understand. I
justify.
understand where you would say that, but it's an empty lot that someone has to buy and build on. So let's say
Maybe
the
next
pool,
year somebody buys it and builds on it.
but the pool will already be there, and they will build it with the full understanding that this is what they're buying.
No, but that is, okay.
So in other words, the first
this
person in
family-
a subdivision can do whatever they want on a lot
Yeah,
because they're
I
the
know.
first ones there.
No.
Okay.
No.
So
This
that
person
argument's
bought
out
this
the window.
lot.
But this is, I understand that, but who?
Accepting the limitations of the size and the dimensions of the lot.
You're right. You are right. I can't argue that. But someone that
We've had
comes.
this argument before with other people.
I
looking
understand
for
that
pools.
completely, but people that come up and say, oh, I have this massive lot, and in this community, we know for a fact, all of us who've lived here our whole lives, people come up from Westchester, from the Bronx, from everything, oh, I have all this land, I'm gonna build all this stuff, and then they see they can't do much on it.
Right.
So that's
It
my,
frustrates me. You go in some of these subdivisions, they got 100-foot long driveways and they got 30 feet behind
you
their
think it
house.
frustrates
and they
you,
can't do
what do
anything.
you think I feel, you know?
I mean, because these people buying it don't understand what they're stepping into.
Right.
I agree with you. I mean,
But
it's
Mike, can
really
you show
asinine.
us that a
I certainly can,
20-foot by 40-foot pool fits here? Sure, you could. But I know, it's not what the family's asking you to put in. They want something a little bit more.
I have to work here, Jim, I'm not trying to be combative, I'm really not. I wanna do the right thing.
But see, I see something staring at me in the face which tells me it can be less. So if it can be less, it has to be less. That's the short answer.
Right.
You might not like that as a direct answer, but that's the answer. We have to give the least variance, our mandate under the law is that we give the least variance as possible. That's the law.
And explore these options.
So I don't
I
agree
don't, I
that
mean-
they cannot put in a pool. I think they can. They might not be able to get this location, this dimension, this direction. And so, that's just, you got to show us what their options are.
And I think you can get very close to what they're
Right,
asking
I agree.
for without a variance.
Okay.
Or with a minimal variance of a foot or something.
2
Because
feet,
I don't know
you know,
exactly,
maybe that's-
but it's darn close. And this picture is so small, so when you say it can't be done because,
I said
It
with
may
that
be
pool, it
because-
can't be turned, and not, I'm afraid that if we turn that pool and we put it underneath that deck, and then you guys will never have a thing to do with it, and I'm the one that puts it in, and then somebody jumps off a kid jumps off that deck into that pool and gets themselves hurt, they're gonna sue the building department, they're gonna sue me, they're gonna sue everyone. So, that's where I'm coming from, but you're right. Could we-
I agree with you. You don't want to create an attractive nuisance for somebody.
Right.
I absolutely agree with you. But, and this is what I'm coming back to is, to me, looking at this very small picture, by turning it doesn't indicate to me that you're getting closer. You're running on a parallel line. So,
All right, let's do
I need
this.
you to show me that, and maybe you tuck that in a little bit and you go back to the people and say, it doesn't make any difference if I'm there or somebody else is there. If the board ain't gonna do it, it ain't gonna do it.
You've given us the survey with the lot itself. We now understand the uniqueness of this lot. If you can, next time, give us a larger 8.5 by 11 of just the specific area
Okay.
with the house and the immediate backyard, showing us where that is, so it's a much more readable size for us to be able to see what it is that you're trying to do.
Okay.
But show us another option or two. I mean, if you really showed me that they could not get any pool in here, then it'd be much more justification for why it's important. And there's no other recreation around,
Well,
whatever.
I mean, I think we all
That's-
understand if they can put a miniature pool, they're not gonna do it.
We
You can stick
understand
a
that. We're
nice
not-
16 5-foot diameter
That's not what we're
above-ground
saying.
pool with no problem. I
Right.
get that, and I understand they don't want that.
Right.
No, I think there's restrictive covenants for above-ground pools. Yeah.
That's not our fault.
I don't build above-ground pools, so I don't think.
They bought the lot with that, knowing that, so.
Okay, but again, the thing is that you can take this pool's central location and see if you can rotate it 5 degrees, 7 degrees, and you can show us how it is, from this, at the exact same
And hug
location.
that 25-foot
Correct.
setback.
And if you can, show the dimensions from the deck and also
And look
the
at-
septic, so we can see.
And if you get it,
If it is that
it's going to be
close.
easier for us to swallow, because it doesn't make any difference to a certain
And
extent.
justify-
If you're asking for a 4-foot setback in one area, but if you rotate it so that maybe it's 1.5 feet in 2 locations, you've reduced it. It's now 2 locations, but you reduced the request to
Okay.
us.
All right.
Maybe you move it away from that deck a little bit. Okay?
I take back what I said about the polar bears.
Thank you.
I don't know what you said, so you can't take it back.
Thank you. All right, last item on our agenda is, we need to make a motion to go into executive session because we have some pending litigation that we need to discuss with our attorney. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we will return shortly.